Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zubeha Harisha and I'm an external facilitator of Civil Service Training Institute. Um, I have done my Bachelor of Science in Culinary Arts Management from Maldives National University, and after that I completed my Masters of Philosophy in Food Studies last year. So today I'll be taking this module is named as Event Management. So you need to know what this course is about. So the basic by the end of this course, you will be able to prepare, plan, and manage events using modern project management techniques. The purpose of this learning about event management is because it is an industry which has expanded significantly in recent years, and event management as a profession has become quite popular. So when we actually think throughout human history, holding events of various kinds has always been popular. So some of such events include coronations, religious ceremonies, festivals, carnivals, musical events, periodic local markets, and so on. So event can be anything. For example, misal kabunana matikudin tihinga event, let's say Raj Terega misala ka council level gahinga फुटबॉल मुबारक नुवत netball मुबारक हमें misal ka rush tere saaf karo, and even and also can be a informal event, like for example that goes into your family events such as birthdays or circumcision tere ganda festivities band again me baba event taka music shows taka mi kala huri aje maswanani event yeah. Today we have large-scale global events such as Olympics, New Year celebrations, and major international music tours. Then Mihara Balala Nama වර බොඩෙති ඉවෙන්ට් තබ්බෙ සිංගා එවෙදාන අතොළු තෙරේග හිංගා බොඩු ඉවෙන්ට් එකම ස්පෑවර් රත්තකින් එබ්බෙගේ මිසල්ක එක කහලා ෆෙස්ටිවල් තන් හිංගුම් මේගේ තෙරේග මිසල්ක බියුම් නුවතා මේ ෆුඩ් ෆෙස්ටිවල් ලෙන් හිංගුම් හැම එයාකික නැෂනල් ලෙවල් ක හිංගා බොඩු ඉවෙන්ට් එක වෙස් වෙදානේ then international level ka hinga football mubarataka sedane adi ade waraggina gawmtake bæverege hinga event misal ka olympics akilla hame yaki new year celebrations ta besade religious celebrations ta besade. All of these events, whatever the size, require careful management and planning. Misalaka ge gonna kuda dihamuna gonna party no the first muna pavangune party vs a commissary management ka planning it. An event manager is effectively a project manager in charge of delivering a successful service. As a result of many of the skills required for event management are related to project management and leadership. So in this course, you will learn about the full cycle of an event from inception to execution. And because daswige nimeru pashagin gossa event nimenden you will learn about techniques used at each stage and learn how to apply them using examples and exercises. So how do you manage events? By the end of this session, you will be able to understand event planning process and what is involved in making a successful event. So the whole purpose of like being able to manage events and execute it successfully is to explore what constitutes an event and what is generally involved in the management of an event. In this session, you will get a bird's eye view of the process, which helps you understand how each part can contribute to the success or failure of the whole event. So we program tereng mi module ni meru daskuna beche he komme step of the way e kita me kuda event vies pod event ek vies e masikke kuran je kame furiham kuran je gota nukure vijamu demmani gottaka anuwata e event කාමියබ් කමයි නිම්මාල වෙජා මොකන්ද තකුණ objective. By the end of this session, you'll be able to understand event planning process and what is involved in making a successful event. So the whole process of this session will be quite theoretical, as you will begin to explore the qualities of successful events and see what is uninvolved in making them. We will go through an exercise to explore this. So when we are asked what is an event, you need to be able to explain it. So event is an occurrence, usually a special occasion. Hasa goteka event ke mebrani waki kamaka guluage waki hasa munasabate baba kamaka. It can either be a thing that just happens. Misal ke vedane kulle ka mihe ratti informally speaking ane mi ratti ta ke kotti bifa hingashe miedu emmen evvelage muda the där kommer skychen hade lägen gossa ni mood beach saaf kollo. An event is not always planned, but in the world of event management, the more planning that goes into it, the smoother the event will run. So, abada ko kome event uje plan wegen dachi kama. Ekam amko me event management masike kura be fulunna mara muhimu kame proper planning and implement kurumake. The manager is in charge of organizing the event. Organizing an event involves making a lot of different decisions and choices. Event hinganyam maragina faru baragina decisions sakaka me choice take make kuranje. Yeah, misalaka hinganagamayu me workshop e bavani or me health dairag workshop e bavani. Misalaka රාජ්‍යරය ආමාස්කෝකෙන් ඩොක්ටරුන් ඇස මේ ෆස්ට් එඩ් කියවාදෙන් එහෙම වෙච්චාම ඒ අයිලන්ඩ් එකේ කවුන්සිල්ලා හොස්පිටල්ලා ඒ මේ ඉදාරි බේෆුල්නා එම්මෙන් ගුලිකෙන් ජෙහෙ මේ හුරිහා මසිකතකමේ ඉත්තකෙන් ඉවෙන්ටන් ඒ වර්ක්ෂොප් හිංගම් බේනුමා ෆුරිහම කොද්දේ ඒකේ තෙරෙන් අමාද මිසාලක එඩ්මින් මසිකෙත්තා දෙන් ඒකේ තෙරේ මාදේ හියුමන් රිසෝසස් ඒකේ තෙරේග මීහුන්ගේ සීටින් අරේන්ජ් කුරාන තනකා Ravalani Kotaka, if from sessions the Naganyamu, for example, the project available to ya, Kuremene Kametoya, the first aid Hingang ebe from Beno Masaman, Rashke Buhito and the Genatomical Bav Contatake Visna edition Take Nagache. This includes practical considerations such as so when you are organizing an event, you need to take into consideration certain factors such as you need to ask the question who are the stakeholders, that is the people behind the event or commissioning it. So me event hinga mihuna kikoba then me kiading example gama nama misala kamiyanani මාලේගේ බොඩ හොස්පිටල් ලකුන් ට්‍රේනින්ග්ස් තකෙන් හිංගම් එකේ ෆස්ට් ඒඩ් ට්‍රේනින්ග්ස් තකෙන් හිංගම් එකේ එහෙම ජම ඒ බේෆ්ලුගේ එක්ස්පෙක්ටේෂන් එකී කොබාතෝ දැන් කියන්නේ તો මේගේ ෆයිනෑන්සින් ඉනි මාලේගේ අන්න හොස්පිටල් ලකුන් මේදි ෆයිනෑන්ස් කරාගොතත්තා නොත දෙෆරාතුන් ගුලිගෙන් ෆයිනෑන්ස් කරාගොතත්තා how actively are the stakeholders in the running of the event. So you need to ask the next question, what is the scope and nature of the event? So denga hanjeheni mikon scale ekka kura kameto kita mihunta meka participate nisalaka me first aid program go wanjehen. Yeah. What is the event trying to achieve? What is its end purpose? So you need to ask the question, why is it being held and who is it for? Is this for only nurses and doctors, or is it for the nurses and doctors and the support staff who work in the hospital? What will happen at it? Misalkan a workshop terega hinga mundani kon kantete kato vesahalan emeche. Yeah. What is its theme? The next question you need to ask is how much money and what other resources will be needed. Misalka kiha haraden hingane to mi workshop hinga hame ay kika dembenuma resources takaki deme kurim buni hen kobato projector benume to PowerPoint slides haden jeheto conference room me benume to everke jaga ovetto emeja mi hingene waruge event etto eveswale kuranje. Will it have special resource requirements? Misalka sign posting audio visual equipment, public address systems and changing rooms, photographers and special security. The next question you'll be asking is where will it be held? Is the venue suited for the event? Is it accessible to the disabled? And also does it have all required facilities, example kitchen equipment, tables, chairs and so on? Or will some things need to be hired? Will it need caterers? Hama event a misalaka kurinding example balana first aid training program catering hama jasanche heto ehme jamu kombaito select kurani malit kanun terento select kurani no ta outsource kogen hama benu mihaka digen kureto eka legal issues is jens wal kopla. What is the event schedule? How much time is there for organization? And then you will need to ask who will attend and how many. Sometimes this cannot be estimated in the case of large community events. Is there a guest list, a seating plan, a dress code? How will it be promoted? So now we look at types of events. So event can be classified in all types of ways according to the size, purpose, discipline, whether private or public, or just about any other criteria you might think of. So event එක මිසාලක බහල විධාන ඒ කිහා බොඩු කුඩමිනේගේ event එතෝ බලන්න තේගේ purpose එක කි කොබාතෝ බලාෆා හම ඒ private ko baba event to no the public hulu alam baba event to eka criteria to set ko for a type set kuna. Consider what is the purpose of the event. Nema futama sawala kahalan cheni event benu bevunge maksada ki kobato misalka rajaterega vejamu me rasha saaf kurumge project event baba kamu gawanama ege purpose ki kobato ege community building to misalka emmenge bavanta kan ane dirugunto te kala kamika baba mag e event ge maksada ki kobato aha set koffa kuriya diunge come. There are few reasons why you might want to classify event. So here are some of the reasons why you might want to classify events. An event company may want to subdivide the work. Example, one department runs corporate events such as exhibitions and another runs events such as fashion or art shows, sports events, and another runs private events such as parties and weddings. A new business might want to identify niche markets they can target or concentrate on a specific type of event. Misal kabunanama weddings where alam huluwa business e hulida anwaki hasa kamaka specifically event single day by. Ehmejamun e classify kurmaki baram kame. The event company may offer different levels of management. Misalaka, for example, if you take catering companies ka by far muhurnana Kuriha equipment in a catering courier gendani. Ehme jaime hukuran kamaki misalaka buffet items sabbenuwa setup cages rent annagani. Ehem buying ato. By service providers a events a cater kuramunna ki hama muli full management de by e misaka hinga nagama wedding. Wedding vijamu emihun hama ege catering na ege decoration sa chairs a tables a then anna huriha cutlery a service plates a spoons and forks Surya Chainu provide for that. Then misalaka naganyamu, let's take an example from the catering me event hinga befuluna ebefulunge equipments the rent code then shady cabin kaltantano. The event company may promote the event according to the event's classification. Okay, so now we look at the categories of events. So leisure events there are amukombi mandani misaka entertainment and sports. So this could be your rush level ga hinga football mubara, bashi mubara, netball or basket mubara. There are many personal events. Meekes categorization golden vara me types, but I'm just focusing here on these 4 types, which will have subdivisions, many subdivisions. Yeah? Personal events there are many weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, and also in some countries funerals are given ebefulung e sagafeng inagotum vejamu hama mi mihaku miya vejamu ebefulung waki gotakan hingane e hurihaka nge hama e ay kibigi tere wannane rajya balalana misalaka hitani the celebrations tami annani e season tere gotan anne events the besega shows tam hama jessuma ege kembuin hama jessuma then by darash palgona 25 pure hama muli rasho emmen evvegen hama hitani season terega hama emmen ekkon event ta hingata. Then we have cultural events, so this is more like ceremonial art. Me haru Eid celebrations terega bodumas nenu mi kahala kantetta mi annani mi waki kahala sakafi kuli varta kulu mi kahala events. Then we have religious and also food events, which is like food festivals. Atolo terega hinga mi ane food festivals ta vese bore in island running island vara fahum vidya no kuriya rana ne vani lama toluga hama mi ebe from the mashhur baki dishen ge hama mi riha ke kumuge mi festival de fenigende organizational events. So these are basically commercial events, charitable events. Commercial event could be misalaka baki product mi market kuram begen paba event ta misaka diraga ichin ebe for deva service takuge events ta malumat tinumuge events ta paba and the charitable events aki boda fundraising events ta then product launch waki kahala and me product and of the service who me introduce kurati baba events. Then we have political events like voting duas coloca e baba misal ka gostaria to na badal ko kadaka he baba events the fa hame aki sales events with student then exhibitions with we see different types of services like trade fairs they invest in exhibitions so type of businesses that they do I see. Similarly, events can also be classified in all types of ways. So here, when we are classifying events, we consider the size, purpose, discipline, whether it's a private or public event, or just about any other criteria you might think of. So consider what is the purpose of the event. So we take an example. A private event is organized for people who have some sort of relationship with each other. The purpose may be a celebration here. Example, wedding or birthday, social or workplace, Christmas party or something else. A public event will invite anyone to attend irrespective of whether they do or do not know each other. So here, misalaka rashke level kanama kunike rashtere kunika saaf kurumuge event baba kamugawana mahamuri abe fulunagina faru invite kurenge kahala me event that this may or may not be commercial. Fees may be charged and it also or it can be done free as voluntary work, but that might be purely to cover costs. A commercial event differs because fees are charged, but over and above what is needed to cover costs. A commercial event aims to make a financial profit. So a commercial event could be to sell something, to exhibit something. They go and stay in a hotel where this event is being held and everything is covered within that package. Charitable events are different again, aiming to raise money, but the financial benefit is for charity rather than for any personal gain. So Varagina Bihar Fenekarnenge Vakal Valteke Gorwa Befurundam Hama fundraise code de Vaganari Anemi Hoda events tang Adihasako social media Chitru Komechi promote Kohada West Fenigan de Mihan. Social events are ones that are organized to foster social interaction or to enhance a social group, small or large. So social events can be misalaka or fee ahare nimala aharako furihama kurebuno objectives the successful ko furihama kurevijamu ekamuge munasabtka baba get together me party misalaka emmenge velafa ahara kurebunu kantatak recognize kofa ekamuga hama me ehitervi employees recognize kon emihuna vakkal certificate edu mikal kantataka mikene social events. Networking events are about developing professional or other contacts with people who have shared interests. So networking events sere boda medani misalka ekkahala me industry kola me hu midani misalka conference means for example let's take engineers emi hu waki kala conference ka attend kon ekitantanu anda me huna badda ko me context naga me e asu boda networking events use korvekotaki. And then we have mega events. And mega events are mega events because they are on a scale that impacts nationally or even internationally. Like I said before, this could be Olympic Games or World Fairs. So examples of large events include, it could be a huge concert which is being held, or an excursion tour or a road rally. Varagina mi fahon Dubai ka hamo bicycle rallies ta kaichi hamo large scale ka baby ke liya ta fenun. A weekend market weekend markets amuko beruga takka hamo fudevara ka boduko fenigindane Sunday market, Saturday markets, which is school feed and art exhibition. agricultural show or regional fairs इतिहास को फ्रांस तंता स्विट्जरलैंड तंता फुदेवर का बोर्डो खुदाने food fairs तक आए चीज़ a trade show conference trade show तेरे का मिसाल का होटल एशिया shows चीज़ राज्य में हर यार नैनी मी कोविड के कूरिंग हम का वैल्यू को में हर को अगस्त अक्टूबर हिसाब करना ने दे एक ही कहा shows था a convention, and it can be a seminar, a festival. Festival they may could investigate example la lama tor gonna a special waki hasari hai ke kumge festival best India. A sporting event, a race, a celebration, or it could be a reception, a learning event such as workshop, seminar, a celebratory event, and civic occasions. So here are some of the examples. For example, conferences, corporate hospitality, as I explained earlier, product launches, dinners, awards, exhibitions, team building events, fundraisers, workshops, reward and appreciation events. So qualities of a good event manager. So what are the qualities that a good event manager should have? Good event managers need to be able to take a holistic approach to the job and apply certain level of knowledge and skill across all of the following areas. Project management. So आमुगतिक event manager बेचामु engage project manage कुराने को budgeting and break even analysis. Misalaka by corporate organizations takung hinga event bechamu manager ka engage hene mi budgeting na ege fada misalaka ene vaane mi analysis tamata break even analysis time management time manage kurane dealing with media, so this could be print, electronic publishing, broadcast or social media, business planning, marketing, managing contingencies, networking and ethics. And so here are some of the qualities of a good event manager. Continue. An event manager should have good organization skills. They need to choreograph all the elements that make an event successful. So good organizational skills are important for managing people, vendors, schedules, and anything else required in the organization of the event. Similarly, they also need to be able to have attention to detail. Misalaka varam hama huriha kame varat tharoko kura bala kura Great event managers need to take time to consider the essential elements of an event and focus on the minute details to ensure that the event works well for their customers or clients. And the third one is that they should have a good temperament. As with most things in life, with events, uh, it is often a case of Murphy's law, which says that what can go wrong will go wrong. So temperament is an essential factor in good event management. Good event managers will know that they need the ability to stay calm under pressure. So here, Vara Budet event of handle Kura, Iruka Vara Gina pressures Tanganani if you are an event manager. Uriha Kolakun Komegatis Come department Kala from a focal point or group La from a focal point Befra Kulumani event manager. එහෙම event managers want je pressure ka calm ko hamache hi ke kandata ka deal kureve baraka. Event management is all about people, so good people skills are also important. So at the end of the day, eventing hingeni hamekeni physical resources no emme bod magad a resources ki balahanda je human resource management. So event managers tehe mihun nagala gengulen inge e by gengule group එක තිබේ මීහුන්ගේ එම්මේ රංගල strength nerve by kamache. It is essential for the good event manager to have the skills to develop, understand and maintain relationship with their clients, staff, customers, vendors and so on. And the last and finally An essential attribute of an event manager is leadership. The good event manager must be able to lead and manage people effectively. They need to be able to motivate and encourage them to do the best they can. So leadership qualities for a event manager. Event manager wanje mi huwa inge the mi hula ba effective ko work kuruang inge mi haka hamaya kiga gengul staff motivate ko gen encourage ko gen gengul maki wara muhim kame event manager. Now we move to developing a concept and planning of an event. So when you're developing a concept and planning of an event, you start with a need. Events are usually not just run on a whim. Events are held because of a predetermined need. Misalaka Eid celebrations said Anna Tivegen Eid Banda Anna Tivegen celebrations take Pama. Wakikahala Benuma Kaba this event and Hinga. Nuta Kucheki birthday vegging Ane Baba family Tere Baba birthday celebration. A need that originates from a compelling thought, such as need to celebrate or commemorate something, or perhaps to expose or promote something. Successful events have a well defined need or purpose determined before the main planning commences. So, Ginafar Misaka Roda Masamuga Kurimi Baba Mahafumuge events. Ehama Miro the Feshumuge Roda Masanati Kamuge Ufafa අනෙක් ෆහකුරුම්ගේ ගොතින් බාබා ඉවෙන්ට එහෙම ඒක වර රංගල ඉංගේ මිසලකගේ පර්පස් එකි මී කන්ද ඒකත කොම්මේ ඉවෙන්ට හිඟාර ඒ කුඩ වියස් බොඩ වියස් ඒ පර්පස් එක identify වුමකි වරමන් කුකම් this gives the event the greatest chance of success. Purposeless or aimless events are less likely to be successful. It may sound obvious, but once a purpose or need is understood and clearly defined, the planner has a template from which to formulate the entire planning process and schedule. So when you are preparing an event schedule, these are some of the considerations that you need to keep in mind. Event plan kuran with the schedule and and the time an event is held will vary according to the type of event. The duration of events will vary, that the food requirements might vary, and the entertainment will vary. The expectation of participants will vary, and the expected outcomes of stakeholders will also vary. So, when you are planning, you need to understand that eki mihunge needs the tafatu anika. Knowing exactly what the event is celebrating or promoting will also determine the inputs required, such as materials, money, labor, and so on. So the next step is to determine the expectations. Event hingaro ahanjehe misalaka kombai kong hamakuto adi kong irako kontapo adi kivegento me event hingari. And this will require some research with the client or stakeholders, the public, potential participants, government organizations, or departments. So, for example, misalaka mahe from a power. Ehvecham kobata stakeholders aki a public vecham emi hunge contribution aki kobato. Adimiga wakitani kabawanya hudde hodan cheheto. Rush council yes, atol level ka hinganya e government organizations takke policies takke ki kobato. Once you have determined a need is about, it will also identify the who and why. This leaves you with what, where, and when. So, key kuram bawa event etto. So, SOL kurat bodang it does not only include what the event is, but what resources are required and what the stakeholders' expectations are. So, rush level ga baba mahifume bejamu misal ka coaches etto beenu mani ko bato logistics sakimi event hinga beenu mani maize tashi tablecloths then mi hun hadang misal ka gennani kon dish taketto. Expectations to some degree influence the amount of money required, and it can also influence the theme, duration, and quality of the event. So when you identify the expectations, you can also identify how much money is required to conduct the event. The other consideration of what will the participants be doing, where. So where refers to where the event will be held, the region, town, city, building, place, space. Where an event is held affects the amount of resources required to stage the event, may also have a bearing on how many people will attend. A country event, for example, may have fewer attendees if the area does not offer accommodation. Misalka island inter island event bawa kamuga manama මදුවාන මිහුන් අන්නලෙන් එමිහුන accommodation පස්සේ හැන්නුලි වෙන්නා ඒ ඉවෙන්ට් එකෙන් ඔන්න ආයෙදන්නකෝ. It also means less access to public transport, so organized transport may be required or considered. So other considerations connected to where are a hingambava venua misalaka choose kuran balalanje kantetaki itura balalanje kantetaki kobahe. So a choose ko fain conference hall and not the workshop hingane thane libe. So kobato resources the ki liben huri misalaka mi disability hunna be fule bechamu access passe hange bahurito the local support ki kobato mi komuga libigen dane. The next question is you ask is developing a concept and planning a dashum, settling on a concept. An event is an experience for the participant. So it is event ki as to experience economy ki dashum categorize korefa in a concept. When you have considered what will happen at an event, you need to choreograph the hypothetical participant. So event misalaka kon kantetake to event ka kurani nimigen da hisabun kudako visnalanje hene e participants ki kobato ya emihunge role ki kobato emihu kura masikati ki misalaka kobato. So anticipate and plan where they will be and what they will be doing at every point in time from when they arrive until the time they leave. So mihe visnalayar balalanje hene misalaka kontaku kombaike chisetto misalaka mahifme vecha display korevigen dani එමිහුන් අන්න හිසාබුන් ඉවෙන්ට් ෆෙෂේ හිසාබුන් කන්ත බෙගෙන් දාන ගොතා අදි එපෙක් කොෆර් ඩිස්මෙන්ටල් කොෆර් දා හිසාබුන් මානක චෙහෙනේ රාවාලේ විෆා. When you make this consideration, it is more likely that you will be able to employ creative elements within the event that allows it to stand apart from others. Because the Kuribaga Visna Lafiamu Mara creative concepts the Fenigendan. A Bible by Kumisaka Mahi from a very decorate Tafat decorations, Takai, study, we gain very Ridiko Tafat Kotaka unique Kotaka Visama for sharing in that. Other considerations when developing concepts include concepts, theme, or format should reflect the key aims of the event. For example, if you are having a mahefum, a mahefuma gule kahala theme mule maholka fenigendache. Yeah, and take into consideration the needs of participants, audience, and expectation of the stakeholders. For example, vara me gala dinner hene arrange නොකරන obviously මාහෙෆුමේ මාපාකෂෙන්ද එය එකශිගේ මාගුත්ක තංකොಳೆ මේ cultural ගොතකන් ඒ concept ආයි theme develop කුරීම ඒතිගේ එම්මේ full maximum potential කමිහුනේ ඒ event experience කරවිගෙන්නා. Concept should be cohesive, realistic, and operationally practical, taking into account the budget, resources, participant, and stakeholders. මම මේ choose කරා concept වාංචනේ realistic concept එකම මිසාලක resources නැති wedding catering එකේ හුරිහා කමනොත wedding hall concept බාබංගුලේ ජාමු හැම ඒති fail වෙගෙන්දාට. And the last point is that analysis is important part of formulating a concept. We should pinpoint the key overall logistical needs of the concept. So proper detailed analysis is very important when you are settling on a concept. Then we come to stakeholders of event. So who are the stakeholders of your event? So if it is an inter-atoll football tournament, the stakeholders are those teams that are coming to play to your island. Stakeholders are all the people, organizations or institutions that have a stake in the event, that is, will be affected in some way or another. This may include individuals, families, organizations, public and private, states and regions, and sometimes even countries. Now, stakeholders will feel the impact of event differently, some in a positive way, others in a negative way. So by far misal ka has ko mubarak etis ka fenigen dan karnege mihen lose wa team hin hamanu je higen wata service kame do hin hamanu je higen adi lose no mies event e tere kantattare before ko tame de hin hamanu je higen gune. So it is part of actual event which takes in the real world. In identifying stakeholders and their importance to the event, you need to consider what influence they will have on the outcome. First level stakeholders are those funding the event host owner, the event organizers, or participants. They may also include local government and the local community. So here are some of the things that you need to consider about stakeholders. Key stakeholders should be given timely, accurate, analyzed, and complete information relating to the concept and theme of the event before implementation. So what I'm going to misala ka etol level ka baba football mubarate bejamu e huriha key stakeholders ka relevant information ne devi for. So this may include the local government authority as well as those funding the event. Huriha ito council taka kang euna rules taka regulations taka kuri bag fonwa misal ka teams takke accommodation hama jefawa go ekkia di hama ya ki ga befurunge mi kem going e catering ba hama jefawa go ekkia di no te ege funding nagani kombe e concept kong e bahaka daka. Proper communication is very important with all of your stakeholders. Enough time needs to be given for stakeholders to consider the concept. There may be public consultation, for example, which can take time. So here, if you are especially thinking about at all level football competition or events, you need to give ample time or enough time to the other like island councils to arrange and convey the messages to the public and prepare the teams and come and participate in the event. Then we have the planning process while you're developing a concept and planning of an event. A project or event plan can be described as a roadmap which shows the route for completing specific objectives. So, event ಗೆ ಹಾಸ objectives ತ ಹಾಸು ಕುರ್ಮಟ್ಟಕ ಬೇನು ಕುರಾಣೆ road mapping asnomi event planning. When you first start to plan an event, all the relevant aspects associated with the event from conception to end may not always be totally clear. So futama event plan kuraro adi huriha detail nengen kostane hamiken futama start kurani kurin dekke idea ku e idea generate ku wa hisabun den e event plan process madum waki specific stages dan ege fahaga wegenda. Yeah. A planning process or strategy helps to clarify and identify the needs associated with an event. So basically plan kurumuge huri havis benumaki kobato mige huri needs takki hoda bala echirangala ravalu. Once the staging of an event has been considered and decisions to proceed have been made, it is time to formulate and implement a planning strategy. This framework or plan is essential for implementing a project. The key approach to event planning is to identify and determine the planning parameters of the event. Now we look into the planning parameters of the event. Correct planning involves a number of activities which have to be carefully thought out before an event can be staged. So, event e bevumuge kurin event එක හිමෙනගෙන් දාන තෆාතු activities ත පහ කරගෙන දාච්චේ. මිසාලක අවකි හාස කමේක බාබා conference workshop එමෙරේගේ workshop e research හදා ෆේති present කරනියෝ. එහෙම විජාමු ඒක අනේ මේ a whole ready කරන්චේ. හැම යකික මේ project ane ready kuranje e attend kurane e industry ke hasa wak industry ke hasa ba e ebe che invite ko ebe fulun receive ko ebe fulun ke seating arrangement hata hame ki ebe fulun e nimala wafa mi ane catering ane kachebe sebe che ebe fulun offer kora. So these activities that could go into an event planning include working out the necessary resource requirements. Event hingang benuma resource requirements takaki ko bato identify kuru. Komme task ke defining each task's objectives. Komme task ke objective ki ko bato. Okay, so we have three teams working out in this conference or workshop. Me workshop hinga me already waki kahala me researching hada for hushana mege the me hushana me annani misala ka education ministry me huna education industry ge me ho so a whole ready kura me onane waki gurupe ebbe from receive kura me onane waki gurupe then ge beno wa taketi hoda arrange ko decorations hada me onane waki gurupe ame ke be from catering हम जैसा में उन्हें वाकी ग्रुप है. So these three groups के मासेकेता कुरान कोता या बेनुमा बजटा या बेनुमा मिसाल का catering में जामु food cost हा या बेनुमा food list तक suppliers तक ये चीज़ फोनुमा हम मिया की का मिसाल का मी government institute में जामाली तुगानों के दाशुं मित केंदा का ममान्या दिनखन तक कुरंचे हैं catering खन तक कुरंचे हैं गोत की को बात होया मिहुरी हाँ steps तक identify को determining a set of performance measures to evaluate progress. So, progress वावर बेलमट्टा का abadus performance measures तक है नहीं फहम मिसाल का मिवेने catering food costing है दीचे विचाम checklist है कमा checklist का एक फाह करे for declare finance है हमें है कि food orders तो फोन विचे so suppliers आवाह कते किचे मेरे contingency के मी supplier तो मी तिनो दिबिचा दें किने है मी होता हादान and that's a very important question that you need to ask in each stage of planning also. So as discussed previously, the main event parameters need to be defined beforehand in order to complete these activities. This involves quality planning, time planning, and expense planning. And next we come to developing a strategy framework. A strategy framework breaks down into tasks and reduces the possibility of overlooking essential objectives or sub-objectives which must be completed during the event's planning cycle. So the whole purpose of having a strategy framework is to make sure that each task is carried out completely and successfully basically. Misala ka hinga nagama ni student ba event ni cocktail party kudi finger food sadafa baba party. Ekudinge mi event ka diha echenge baufa kureo misala ka council level ka baba bodo VIP guest untaka. ए दीहा आइटम्स एकदिन हादाफ किचन का हादाफ मिगेंदनी ए बुमोन्ना मछली हलवा जापरोना सानका गेंदर एकदिन मिसालका वरम मुहिमुका में स्ट्रेटेजी फ्रेमवर्क के तेरें एकदिन जहेने वाकी कहाला चेकलिस्ट तक हादाफ ओन्ना कुम में आइटम का मिसालका ओके मी आइटम पैक करे फले विचे में मीटिंग me catering again. So nikala minute details ta hunna jehani strategy implementation strategy level ka nimifa. Each task is listed as a specific activity which must be done in order to stage the event. So this could be very simple things like just like I said misalaka I'm making chocolate cake which I chocolate cake kolutang ebeno avaraka kafa for rangala pek kure ifato huri nanje ifato huri a delivery event and erui so a checklist ka hunajana michi identify refa. So and this can at the same time this example could be applied to different type of events misala ka football mubara the hinkanyas e be flunge komme team ka accommodation hamaje ifato hori kon hisaba kon area kon venue to kon location netto huriha facilities तक है rooms तक है toilets तक का हम तो या हम की का हिंदुनु के catering नाम इंदुरु के क्यों मारे गनु के क्यों हम जहनी कोंता. So these minute details will go into writing in the implementation strategies. Tasks can be prioritized according to how essential they are. So each task is listed as a specific activity which must be done in order to stage the event. Tasks can be prioritized according to how essential they are. Categories of essentiality include essential, not so essential, not essential, and not necessary. So task ta behidana misalaka kiha ege muhimu kama besko. Misalaka vara muhimu den eha muhimenu egotikas benu nuwa task ta. So if you take an example, so you are having a birthday party for your kid. You are developing a concept and delivering a birthday party for like 50 people. Okay. Fansas made a baba birthday party ga essential kamakan innani decoration, proper decoration, kuda kuja vejamu ege theme rangala concept rangala develop kofa horo ki ga ekashike ma catering ga hunne je kala food ege incorporate kofa horo then eha essential nung echi selectan misal ka belu mi bෑවරු balloons take be machan ala fa behe ඒවිතරේ දෙන් සුවල් කොල්ලජ හේනි මිසාලක මතීග ඩෙකරේට් කුරාරේ balloons තන් අස්සාෆ දෙන් තීරීක මෙහිම් balloons උකාෆ බෙහෙටු මුහිම් තෝ එවර බජට් එබුරිත එවර බජට් නැතියමුන් ඒ ටාස්ක් හම කණ්ඩාලෙමෙ නේ මේ strategy implementation අනේ මේ planning process there. So a strategy framework should broadly incorporate the following qualities: the goal and sub-objectives of each task, general resource commitments. So framework tere hama fenigendan misalaka resource commitments takki kobato komme group akam evonna event ekke kurim budihen misalaka conference workshop aka ready kurade ehem vejama mitang ready kuram benumani maze to kondito projector to slides to computer benum me to hama eke seating arrangements hadani round the table to no the Kong style katto tables the jahani mihuri hai chingandan hamaya ki catering group ke decorations ka ule befur nai buffet setup hada befur ngi resource aki ko bato each available beto balance and also it should implement a strategy framework should contain a general layout of planned schedules. Okay, so kon time akatto misal ka mi workshop mi ho ready ve nimi fa hona chene kon time akatto food ni kunna jehni buffet table before a workshop nimma fe research presentation and discussion nimma fa anna mara ki ha irakutto food ready vegen neri fa hona jehni so mi have some detailed schedules taka timelines taka layouts tak nedi fa hona jehni. The next step is to consider the planning quality. To plan the quality of an event is to define those tasks broadly defined during the event formulation phase discussed earlier. So, we have plan ko foi ko tabay fanu gostane adi event feshe hisamu. Kudi badal tangarnane e libe chenu ta iturang echen libigen e itura rangal wegen messing dan. So, quality plan kurairu bodam abades balani e liye for task ta emme rangala kureve kote Part of quality planning is to prioritize the order of tasks into a sequence which best fits the event's progress. It is important to remember that quality dimension is the crucial linchpin between resources required and the time cost dimension. So quality misalaka event kalam balar emmebota balanje heni kobato available time frame ki adimi gahi budget ki kobato එයන් එමෙ එකශේන වරක quality කොම්මෙ task එතරේ අලෑන් හිංගේනි කිහිනෙත. Quality planning outlines the standards of performance expected by the stakeholders and provides a useful guide for monitoring progress. So some of the key planning elements are Determining the quality and types of resources needed, human and material. Misalaka kontakuto etol level ga hinga football mubara konga dandika to hinga ne hame ki yang hori resources ki ko ba to wa wara football se bori to goal ta ready to mi hori hakame balance ne seating arrangement ek hadanan to ki ne to seating arrangement hadani e bija kon quality ke kon level lega to e resources ta base kuran setting the performance standards desired verifying output quality. So the performance standards output quality monitor kuragoteki compare kurani event hinga mundairu implementation phase ka hinga gota plan ko foi kota eja evre rang plan ko foi kota evre rangala danya that is really good ekam by halatak dimawa masataka hedi a plan kuri kota nugos hinga nyamun there are things that you need to correct within the event. Okay, so here these are the steps that goes into the event management tasks. Okay, so we'll take an example here. Misalaka rush council arrange kurani cleaning day weekend nge mi hukuru honi hiru burafete hukuru honi hiru meeting duwa hanga manskoke nge furtama kamaka island council jehene ege objectives ta kadara nge eimaki hobato mi cleaning project ki waki thane rashke waki sarahadde saaf kurumuge gotuno the beach area misalka saaf kurumuge gotum pavache ehme jamo ege objectives ta ki hasu kurumenu wala that objectives ta ki hobato nge hame yaki ege outcome ki hobato rashu misalka clean femmege bavanta ko ala ko dirwa emmen ekkolla ehma ja kolla baba echettono tami waki policy kanala fe inna gawෑදිಗೆ ದಶುಂ ಹೊಮ್ಮೆ ಮಹಾಕೊಯ್ ಫಾಣತ ಹಪ್ತಾಕೊಯ್ ಪಾರು ಪುರಂಚೆ ಕಮಕಂ ವಾತಿ ಕುರ ಕಮೆ then you define the criteria misalaka kombaitto mi event select kuran ne mi rashte saaf kura mi hulwalani public hulwalar mi participate veveni anhen natto firhen natto anhen firhen kudi podu kuri han vena mi participate vegen dani kanwatanu kanjehene anga yeah. Then you do the research here. So research part is where you gather the information. So you identify like which areas of this your island you need to clean kon tarhattagetto saaf kuramenu mali egota hama e location is identify wegen dani adi konkala echisetto misalaka michi saaf kuram beenu waani mis rashterege misalaka waki kuni ala tanguge e sarahaddu ekko saaf kuram vejjamu ekan hingan dembenu mani misalaka lori echis beenu mane to kinetto echista naga saaf kokala hatani etane haradiki kobato then kondustake to misalaka mikata kurane then staffing hama ai kiga council ke faratun tibbawan jehene misalkan wate event hingawa bayge farata tiben jehene komme group e public un anna komme group e lead kurane befulo then again nikubedane masalata echi ukala misalaka mi kunita naga ukala echi destroy kureveni gotiki kobato migota hinga free past events takka kanta ko fori kinetto ya egen dasre fo hori kochetta ya e base koggen ramal kokke kuriye dani kinetto ya. And then we come to systematic detailed planning. So the financial plan. Financial plan consists of a budget, the budget that could be allocated budget for resources and catering if any is arranged. So misalka in some islands me clean kura dua hebe jamu ebe flumina heduna sareli hofa rashteli saaf kura dua hebe jamu no emi jam mikama da budget no da fasa ge hara deki ko ba to mi sponsor kurani ki be flum ki gen echi kakkan annani to can any of the resources required for the event be sponsored and how you are going to get the money. Misalkan mi hinga committee no rush council no sa hadanyamu ikma benwa fasa kineto podani. And then we have the operational plan. We should have the production schedule, what time the event starts and finishes. Operational plan ge dasho misalaka production schedule no fenigen dani ki hire kuto misalaka ebe fulu e rush saaf korandani kon areas taketto saaf koran cheheni mikama beenwani kon kahala resources taketto kinetto island council staff divide with fatibi hame akiga health and safety and safety measures terega kinetto mi ani first aid kantattan eduge bahattani befra kubali wenata here janota kame course vecha kanta koran ki. And the third within the systematic detailed planning process is the marketing plan. So here you need to prepare a marketing schedule, prepare flyers, use social media to distribute information. So one way to do this is you can prepare flyers and you can use social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to distribute information. Me harakas waragina hamara rashko baking hure hama Facebook page vis erasha vis hasa ko fahada fahunna hinka events taka plans taka hure hai chang update kora mugenda. You need to distribute information about the event to the target audience. So my target audience asu kya de veja me key wegen ba event ekama and what is required of them. Misalaka rashte saaf kora veja manane local people. E rashigge ule rayitung manane. Ehme veja bavari wa faratunge tum bavari wa beflunge faratum benumani kun kamekam balagala angal de veja. Promote your event through social media groups to encourage maximum participation. Then we come to risk analysis. So in risk analysis, you need to prepare a backup plan and conduct a strengths, weakness, opportunity and threat analysis. So komme stage එක event එක අස්තුක backup plan එකකින් එන්නේ. මිසාලක outdoor event එක මේ party බාබනියෝ රෂෙන්ෙන් එබ්බෙනම් එකකින් කෙවුමෙන් බාබමෙකින්. එහෙම වෙච්චාම වාරෙ වෙහිචා කෙනෙක්ව හදාන්න. අද ඒ හිංගුමුග පුරි මිසාලක strengths එකකි කොන් කාලා කිහාවරක මේස් බුරිතෝ කොණ්ඩි available වේතෝ ෆොතිය බුරිතෝ මේස් මතියාණානේ කක්කානේ ගොත්තනොත equipments තහම ජීෆේ බුරිතෝ මේ හුරිහා එච් බාලන්ජෙ අද මීගෙන් මිසාලක හොරි weaknesses සිකි කොබාතෝ මේ කාලා event වෙච්චාම I'm just giving you an example here. And opportunities, what are the opportunities? For example, Rashuke Purvaso Wakikala catering hinga buying a mijamu ebe from atumichi hodamikata kurevidan. So and threat analysis misalka a event terega sadi hinga mundar ves ega huri nedeve nuta dimavedane nurakkalaki kobato. For example, if it rains, what will you do? So if it rains kineto misalka party hinga mundar vare vehicha kineto hadani. What will you do if you don't get enough equipment to complete the event? For example, Rashu clean in a Nikumel Misala Canetio, a Kunikahani Saman. If Jagege Befuru Marihunge Befuru Camilla Saman, he fang as Kunkahan, the Mugego was a suffer and the Mugego Hadanito. What are the health and safety issues taken into consideration? For example, first aid. And then we have the organizing the event aspect, which is to break down and develop the specific activities that will be carried out throughout event and set deadlines. So here, Kurimes Muniheng event Wakiwaking Kura Maseketa identify Kurevi Emaseketa Furiam Gotuga. Urung negedani event ke tere boda then mikama ege kuring event ke kuring kurakan tetta vechamu deadlines te set ko e deadline ka ekam kon oda nimo misal kama maluge flower decoration se kala dinner bamati hadanyamu ege flowers ta eduge misal ka hendunuge nest ready ko e chista decorate ko nimma fa diu. and then we have the implementing the event. During the implementation of the event, you just run the operations, and then within that operations, what you do is you monitor and control all the activities as much as you can. Then event nimmala misalaka event ekge ehuri chistanaga ehuri ha ichen hand over ko chista feedback hoda evaluation hada reports the ready ko shana je fanataka ushairo. So we now look at the event project life cycle. If you look at this stage in the beginning at the initiation phase, misal ke initiation phase ka vechamu me ane there is not much of planning activities that is going on. So in the horizontal row we have the timeline to finish these phases, and the vertical line is the activity level that is taking place. Yeah. So for the fashairo me initiation phase ka magina activities ta kennu hinga. Yeah. Then planning stage ang anneru mi fenigen dani mi ane activities ta kinawegen ham peak wegen data hama AI ki ka madmadung implement koreve hisabung activities ta implement kong set kore hisab activities ta madmadung task ta fure hama mamunda. Yeah. Then during the event, again the event number of events that is being conducted rises. A event hingamundaro a event ke eki groups ta kundani event abenuma activities ta hingamu. Ehme number of activities anikas machakos then anika close down ga eti tiriyan eda. Yeah. So what is an event for? So the whole purpose of event is before starting to do any planning or making any decisions in regard with management of an event, you need to know what the event is for and what you want to achieve by running it. This is extremely critical as you would need your objective throughout the design process to help you filter through unwanted solutions. So in this session, you will learn about a series of systematic techniques you can use to define these objectives and reduce your search space for various solutions. So emi futamanas handang college an event misaka plan kuragota ngedinu wasta. Ehvejamun kuri baga tayar ve rangala plan ve event ka behe goto screen kurevi huriha emme rangal options to choose ko korma ki wala muhimu kame unforeseen coming ero kamaka deal kuran fase havegenda. By the end of this session, you will be able to identify the objectives of your event and screen ideas to select the best options. You will learn how to identify objectives systematically. You will then consider an event of your choice and through exercise identify your own objectives and screen a collection of ideas. So here is defining the process of defining objectives. The first is you ask the outcome. What is the specific result you are committed to achieving by holding this event? Misalaka, there is saaf kurumge program baavagen or the event baavagen hasil kurabenu kun specific natija eto emmen evela sakara chahala e kulum badahi kunu denashtere vese ay ki hum saaf ve clean tani kamga then what needs to happen as a result of the event. So me event wagging kobato make natija purpose. What is your purpose? Why do you want to hold this event? And principles. What are your policies and guidelines? So mikantang hinguma kuri policies and the guidelines aki kobato misalaka council level ge bhurito waki kahala rules and regulations take follow koranche ASI misalaka rash staff kurmuge program e bawanama e waki hase sai hada kamuka wanama kobato me budget kandel muga kuri policies taka regulations taka ki which rules do you have to conform to. So there are three types of screening. What does each type represent? So first question is, what do you need to do for the market screening? For market screening, you may need to carry out surveys, research the market, and talk to other event organizers to better understand the situation so you can screen the ideas for an appropriate solution. So market screen kura kamugawanama misalaka in inter at all sports mubarate bawanama, you need to identify the market adege kuri misal kame kale event ehendash ko hinga afwanama hinga feri bay kawaka dakka ege misalaka e situation ki ko bato ya hinge ne chito ya no tamiye idea ki ko bato mi hinga kuya gendane gote ra re bunga holla. Yeah. So the next question you need to ask is, what do you need to do for operation screening? For operational screening, you don't need to come up with an accurate plan or timing. You only need enough information to allow you to filter out those events that are obviously unfeasible. Misalaka bedane mi baba mule sports mubara ha feasible time එක නොකම යොන්නනි එදානේ කුදින්ගේ exam period රාවම්ගේ target කුරා event එකම එහෙම ජාමු රටෂම් participate උමුගේ chance කුඩ උඩමුගේ ෆුර්සත් පොඩු එකෙන් that. What do you need to do for financial screening? For financial screening, you also only need a rough estimate at this point. So planning stage cover this rough estimate and check. Yeah. Kihavarige haretto emi event hingandani balabenu. You only need to calculate a rough budget, estimate the number of attendees, and work out how much you will earn. Misalaka mi fasa giname ege kudave kahala event bejiamu misalaka inter at all mubarate bejiamu ege rough budget en hada kita befrunto attend wani ananta officials sa supporters avi emme misalaka then miya kiga mi earn megen dani ki havaretto. So now we come to planning and budgeting phase of the event. By the end of this session, you will be able to systematically plan for an event using work breakdown structures, work packages, and budgeting. So whole purpose of planning and budgeting an event is for you to understand that this is a critical part of planning for any event, and that is to get the finances in order. Yeah, comment event hinges komugote BS ebeje hemige dane mi fasa ge haratta hamaja saf kuribag pahata. Budgeting helps you put structure into the event and understand the true scope of your work. So a hingad haratta identify kong e tiliye for horebejamu then again ingene mi misalaka mi feasible event etto mi hingeni kon scale ekato for example misalaka balanama student hinga mi buffet ane mi dinner ehbejamu eka bejamu ekudin sponsor hodan ekenna food taka base kofa vakechissake handan vikkeni konkahala echissake menu wallagento. It also helps you understand your limitations, which in turn allow you to decide quickly and efficiently. So misalaka ekudina sponsors libuni waki kahala food ingredients take hoda mejamu e menuwa leveni ko chitto mige limitation naki ko bato ya adimi kurevene merangal gote ki ko bato fenigella. Yeah. By the end of this session, you will be able to systematically plan for an event using work breakdown structures and work packages and do a proper budgeting. So first you need to ask these questions. What could possibly go wrong when planning an event? So number one is you lose the venue. So you take a conference hall from a hotel, central hotel. But due to some issue, there's a clash in the schedule. Already book fine tane misala ka baki hotel ko mideni conferencing or workshop hinga. Misal ka let's say school ko minagani hall. School hall minagani basketball mubarate baba show hendo ukurdu hendo. Ekam asubalalar miwagot ki ham egadiyan e bang ehem bay ka bes bookine difa olma. You might lose this location or venue. The event overlaps with a major holiday. Then the Bavangule event ege gotum misalaka year end holiday ga Bavangule program or Eid holiday ga Bavangule program adihasa ko misalaka school takum misalaka mi promotion no the college takum ebe from offer kura post promote kura megen na ule program eka vejamu mi magotiki pandiki tere dima vija kudina kadima inuan ehem vijamu ekal kantata jen consider for lang event day within that. So these are things that could go wrong. Failure to update budget. Misalka mi wedding naka catering neng hantam wege mi hoda mi food costing mi handani tangole purin di before huri ingredient price in list benu koge ehe vejamu astu event ka මෙවාගොතිකි ෆුඩ් ඕඩර් को हुरिया कमे कुरियर बजट मामा चमिदनी a price in the ingredients के बदल फोगे yeah no one registers for the event epic queues so मिसाल का इवेंट हिंगा आयरुगा ए बाबा मिसाल का डिनर नाइटिंग चेक का ए क्यू गे ए ट्रैफिक फ्लो रांगड़ंग अरेंज रुकों होरे चामो बर मी हम पैक वे एताने कमी हम की नवेकिंग का चेयर नसवेगे मिकाल का देता दिमाग yeah poor or missing contingency planning backup planning eng hedi fanetu ei misalaka mi beru going event vareve hempeshima etere move kurang echi ready kore fanetu inadequate staff on hand denu avara staff e masikete kura eto. So you need to look at your objectives and then you need to analyze the problems. Okay, dinner night bawani ehme jamun e benuma food list hediche to food costing hediche to food costing hediru ma hurige food ane me pricing list taketto atuga huri ehme jayechi samhodu ne then aneka food costing hada for menu set kofa e huri haiche kakka gadiyan ನೆರವೇಣಿಕೆ ಹಾಯರೆ ಕೂರಿಂಗ್ ಕಕ್ಕಂ ಕಿತದ ಸ್ಕೂರಿಂಗ್ ಕಕ್ಕಂ ಫಶಾಂತೋ e kakkam benuwa samane burito mi kala huri hasul ane mi hs analyze ko niku me dani masalen analyze ko huri hakame pure fonje e veja misalaka mi order deni waki bayin ata food ingredients tagenna e supply anga tuka e chine tuni rot emi hum handane tuni rot last vi ehem vijam den ituru supply e butta wahaka dekken e system hodan genna. So, successful planning of an event, if it is successful, it means that you have managed your time properly and you have strategized your event properly. So now we come to the organizing the resources required for an event. First is the location. All events need a location or venue, but choosing the right one depends on the type of event. Most events usually, but not always, have predetermined general location or area in which the stakeholders prefer to run the event. So if it is a misalaka naganama Eid holidays adimako baba food festival vejamu identify kunajene location. And jagina be food me public event evin benmani open yaga baba. ඒති කණ්ඩයට ready kurefa hama justify nache yeah so choosing the right location depends on more than one factor. So the first one is cost. Your client or the stakeholders may want an amazing venue but not have the funds to secure it. Misalaka catering me wedding concept develop kurabe for the vejamu under a client and with the customer to get and ever fasa backup me ane money neti benuvedana parasali me location ekka no taagbodu location ekka event ekinka then hame aki capacity the venue may not be able to hold the number of anticipated attendees nota me dinner night baba a location vedana under total number of me who accommodate nukurevenuwaruke tanaka. Then facilities available nuvedane taneka. It may not have all the facilities needed. Example, kitchens and toilet. Excess nuvedane faseha. But undagulu manangina hisabaka vedan. Availability, it may be booked for another event already. So some of venues are like booked for years to like 1 year ahead book for Hunatantam as well. An expansion of the criteria that you need to consider are site availability, what are the legalities involved in getting that location, associated costs, Kobataya Kiana Haradeki Misalaka service charges for cleaning the parking area and everything before you start with your event. And also style. Sites needs the site where your event is being held, it needs to be attractive. Reath tanaka misalaka manje kala dinner nota dega donna kala dinner eche baba kamgawana yeah. Attendance capacity kune muni hakita mihunato etaga accommodate kodde meni nota participate meve yeah. So uniqueness is very important when you organize the location because you need to think out of the box. Uniqueness is something that can give an edge to most events, from a children's party to trade show, or it could be a landmark sporting event. Unique venues are a sure way of making events stand out. Misalaka, beach account wedding ekala. මිසාලක මේ බෙල්කනි වියවින් හම එක්කොම් මෙහෙ වශයාගෙන් රීති හිසාබෙ ෆෙන්න හිසාබ එක ඉවෙන්ට් වේ. Then we come to physical resources. The physical resources include furniture, sound system, decoration, partitions, traffic control barriers, electricity, computers, office equipment and facilities, toilets, catering facilities, waste removal if it's a kitchen, for example. Yeah, Hamamiyaki, it could be playgrounds, halls, seminar halls, or conference rooms. All these are physical resources that are involved in event management. Depending on the type of event that you want to conduct, all the events are unique. The resources required may overlap from one event to another. Physical resources generally speaking, these are some of the examples of physical resources that goes into certain events. So here, careful site inspections are important in resource identification process. Misalaka mi ඔන්න වෙනුව එක මේ භාවනේ networking event a industry එකේ let's take the hospitality or tourism industry එකේ මේ key stakeholders ministry of tourism උනා resort බෙෆුණා then මේ college ගේ බෙෆුණා එම්මෙන් එබ්බනේ මේ get together එක එහෙම ජාමු එබ බලන් ජෙහෙ ඒ එබ්බුම networking event Evva tanuge catering handa kitchen misalaka, is it large enough though? Can all these dishes that you are preparing be arranged in that kitchen? And also, if you are using freelance or contracted caterers, you may need to ask them to check that the facilities are suitable. And here, if vendors are bringing in their own equipment, for example, if they have their own caravan marquee, then you will need to confirm what electricity and gas supply requirements they may have. So there was this event that was held recently. What happened was this was a student event which was being conducted, but the food that was prepared for the event was prepared in one kitchen in Machangore. And this needed to be taken to Hemveru. Me had me event ka me student who event nga. So me event me catering event and networking event ka ekkola for event. Me ga me ko te ki sab me ane khudin student who me jahani food ane tayar kura me Machangoli gain ane me kitchen ta huri thane ka tayar ko ke me gendan jehani Hemveru gain tanaka. මිහෙන් ගෙන්දායරගො මේවා ගොති කිමි හදාෆ මිරි කුදි කුදි ෆුඩ් මි finger foods take මීචිසකි වර ෆසෙ හැමුවා ගොතකුන් හාලා කුවේ හඩිමුමුගේ chance අනේ මි හුන්න කහලා කාබ කුදි කුදි taketi mi jehuni michi gengosa emihunge e mi kon networking event oi tanuga in badige kamikantakwa. So there was around 22 items. Anehmurana menu in 22 items. E benuma ichi tayyar koggen kafa ready kon hada mi gendia mi networking event oi tanuga in badike gendiro I warakuda badike. So so I was there in this event and we had to be very organized. Vara kudu kudu jage dipuni varang organized kuranje hono ane mi table ta kuri bag kos tambala arrange kon tape kon table ka kon ane food item to laani kinetto echisa kut tashta kan ala hanireni e huriha kamen asuga ravajja. So things to consider when managing resources are: do a cost estimate of the physical resources required. So this is very important. Misalaka mibuni event ka vejamu, we served small chocolate cakes which were cut, chocolate mousse cakes which were cut into smaller pieces, and then we served it. So we needed to see whether we had cocktail shaped plates with us. Zaka e kuti cake ngala e kuti ko koshafa e chistalani kuti tashi huri to yadda haradiki kobato mi huri ha cheta e chise ko tangala da haradiki kobato is the estimate ko takoracha. Make sure that the budget for the event covers the physical resource requirement. So muri event akanda ala fa ina budget mi benwa huri ha mikal physical resources se cover kure to balache. Look at past resource requirements for other events if possible to help identify what is needed. So when you are conducting an event like misalaka mubarate island level ka bawa mubarate ke school taking ebege bejamu hurin mi mubarate hinga kosa huri harada bala is physical resources ta hodan genna misalaka दांडू ने कुमन होते होले ने कुमन दाहर देखी को बातो या इतना देंगे न सामान तंग अरेंज को हाँ दंदा हर देखी को बातो बेदिदा. You need to keep up to date. So here you need to ask what are the current trends in type of physical resources used in events. So do the resources you decide on meet the expectation of stakeholders, client? Do they meet legal and safety requirements? So hasa gote ka misala ka basket ka leche vejamu outdoor ka vejamu in terms of safety misaka ware vejamu slippery wane to he vejamu indoor ka bawani to the stakeholder expectation ekashige ma gotaka to mi ane event hinga thani tayar kure for wani esual kurume sevara yeah. Communicate with your suppliers to ensure that all is going to plan and that resources will be delivered on time. Also, they are of the expected quality and quantity. So this is very important. Then again, misalaka party you have ordered a lot of decorating stuff to your supplier. Jamu chista time ali bene to misaka flower decoration hadanya flower shop maguta flower the fonwa devene to ya kungadi kuto ya fonwa devene quality ragaluto yeah. Make sure that the suppliers you choose can meet continuity of supply. And the next step is very important, as I have been saying before. So you always need to have a contingency plan that has alternative arrangement should some of the physical resources not be delivered. Okay, so you are preparing a type of coffee cakes since you are celebrating a coffee day, International Coffee Day, for example. Yeah, and you have ordered a specific type of coffee from a supplier. Then me coffee misal me coffee cake hada me International Coffee Day celebrate kuramege me coffee cake hada maki atterge coffee ka me hada order di. Edin supplier to nudi bijamu kine to den hada. No the ege coffee cups nudi bija kine to den hada. Then so you always check the who are the suppliers, related suppliers within the environment that you can go for a second choice. Keep precise records of what was ordered and what was supplied. Make sure resource use is efficient and as planned. To manage resources effectively requires constant communication with team you have been working with. In terms of like, you need to always like communicate with the teams that is working under you. For example, workshopping hinganyam office bijam annana misalaka admin bureau annana procurement annana then hinga department annana then plus estate annana. So these are the department people that you need to talk continuously to make sure that the resources required to conduct this workshop will be delivered on time. So next is the human resources. An event manager must analyze the skill sets of human resources required to run an event. So here event hingaru event ekashige ma gota balanjehe eme goda misalaka konkom baikatto konkal task එක eme furiha me aga kurave. For example, if it is a food festival that is being conducted in the island, Rashiga hinga food festival levejamu misalaka mi bahalani group takaka mi ekikahala dish tamhala. Ehvejamu desin hataruge kolla mi group kama mi bahalani. Bahalanyamu mi misalaka identify kona jene group lead kurane rangala kakkange by ebatibito. The manager will need to determine the skills required by staff in variety of different roles. Then we before get any misal karangala kakkange before kaikkumgane before mi ge ane decorations ka adi echista mi organize kong echi operations ka mi help umgane before benuma echi soda di genes di kalkanta ko egota mi kombeto ekikal task takan eme rangala kurevene identify ko ekala mi hunna emasikken hawal ko. Yeah, they will also need to be aware of available labor. Evijamu misalaka if you are having a food festival, ane mi kiha buying able tibito kiha mi kabota kechetai ar for display kurema living with total number of people ki kobato. Yeah. So this may include already existing staff, volunteers, temporary staff. And also you need to identify whether they will participate in a food festival misalaka agakatto emihum food festival ka bæveriwani no then boda me human resources analysis and hadaru it will identify what skill sets are needed, identify what skill sets exist, and identify a gap between the two. Now we come to work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure is a key project management tool used in planning and strategizing. So this is a project management tool which is used to plan and strategize your activities and tasks that go into your event. Yeah, the work breakdown structure visually defines the scope into manageable chunks that an event team can understand, as each level of the work breakdown structure provides further definition and detail. Big example I yeah. And would I understand one example? Paladim. A work breakdown structure diagram expresses the project scope in simple graphic terms. So we work breakdown structure balalima fenigen dane misalaka me project ke feasibility men balalima fenigen dane kiha warigge masikatito e badigen dani kita department me event work kuranche tonote kita group me event work kuranche. The diagram starts with a single box or other graphic at the top to represent the entire project. The project is then divided into main or disparate components with related activities or elements listed under them. Generally, the upper components are the deliverables and lower level elements are the activities that create the deliverables. I just see the examples for you guys to understand more. Bodang an example balaliwa adi bodang understand. So work package. So once you have formulated a work breakdown structure diagram, you can then focus on each specific work package and formulate the following parameters for each of them. Yeah? The process of filling in a work breakdown structure is iterative. Work breakdown structure hedumaki bara wagutu eya heduwaginaka. Yeah? Misalakan hataru department team department catering department masiketake kure group kuranje hame kiga e venue ke location decoration ga waki group masike kuranje hame kiga misal kai delivery ga waki ba ko ba masike kuranje e vediamo in come group and other department kun kurama siketa identify ko diye. Yeah, so you will need to go back and forward between the work packages as you set milestones, define output, work on dependencies, and so on. There is a start time parameter in the work package. So work package about this fasha gadi identify qualify. But if you don't know exactly when you want to plan a work package, note that at this point the duration of task is more important than thinking of the start time. So fasha gadiya misala kanne guni evaki masekkate evare boda abude swisnani kiha wagutetto dani mi work nota complete koran event tere misalaka mi food orders tan hada fa event ege catering ge dashon food orders tan hada supply at dinima supplier at dinima kiha duwahe nota kiha gadirettere gato food receive korere. You can leave the start time for later when you work on the Gantt chart to schedule the activities. At this point, your aim is to define a task in a way that allows you to know what is involved in it and how long it would take to finish, considering the resources which are allocated to it. The start time is only critical to be present when the entire work package structure and work packages have been defined along with scheduling and planning. So this is just a schedule package that you are creating. Okay, so based on this you create schedules and plan the work activities that will go into different departments or group of people involved in different activities. So here you can see this is an example of an event. Yeah, misal kami put one venue. This is location wise, and then we have the administrative department. Then we have the website that is marketing and all, and then we have the catering, and then we have workshop. Then logistics workshop hinga benu mana misalaka echistaka kikobato. Then logistics ebawade again parking sign. Then design. So let's look at this each one separately. Yeah, me event itere misalaka tibes ane mi hinga munda eki masike kuramda groups. Yeah, for the venue misalaka venue booking that is a task that you need to perform. Ege security misalaka if you are inviting VIPs not me sarkarge mati magam gati bama before mandana manyamu kineto hache suppliers akiko bato cleaning kineto hadali misalaka equipment ebuhurito etaga sound system ebuhurito etas misalaka miniane seating arrangement ebuhurito audio visual presentation equipment seta hureto then video conferencing equipment ebuhurito workshop venue plan sakiko bato and also flower arrangement. Yeah, then administrative functions the area kura groups the kumalanje hari invitations the phone guest speakers the kikoma to identify kuro admission and reception. These are for large conferences and workshop. Name text and hedu speech the tayar ko presentation the ready kuro. Yeah, then we have the website. Those people who are working on the website. So here they will secure the e-commerce workshop schedule the tayar ko ready ko market ko website ang available ko ehuraka kuro presentation submissions the accept ko is the ready ko hedu kiga IT support dino. Yeah, videos of past events the create koechistalla ready kuru. Then we have the catering no balar menu design kuru. Food and drink for break time aki ko bato echi tayar pechi line ko echi is thai neru food and drinks for lunch benumak ane mi dishes the ready ko tayar kuru staff na ki ko bato misala ka kita staff to badike ko work kuran kita staff the service side ko leni. Then comes the workshop whereby there are the product demonstrations and there is a program schedule, field trips which is included, demo of factory for example, and discussion sessions. Then we come to logistics where they'll be handing the signage so that people can find the place easily. The parking would mean saka bergi counter jamu a parking areas the danger transport for field trips and factory demo equipment drop and pickup schedule. And then we have the design, first the opening session, then the closing session, venue design and branding, gift shop products misalaka attend kura workshop attend kura befurunna misalaka gift shop products tangane daka what each is the workshop proceedings ta kuriya gendu egota hame e workshop kuriya videos ta negum egetere ana entertainment sa ege overall theme identify code. A budget is the first thing to be formulated once the event is given the go ahead. So you have said that misala kami har ane plan kone muniyo ane atol level ka football mubarak nata basketball mubarak bebo. Ehe vijamu denkuren jehen kamagi budget account. You will have already identified the resources you need. A budget will help identify the costs associated with all these inputs. So me event hinga benuma samana me arupunane identify lefa misalaka e basket mumara te bijam basketball sa e court ay uri hache e bijamu e hingane harad den ane fenigen dane budget tek kanada eti ready kore. Yeah. Budgets are not static though, it must be constantly reviewed throughout the life of the event. Kudlekan hamaiche gyaku badalwegen meskostan misalaka ආසගොතික catering events වෙච්චාමු ಗಿನಫಾರ ಫುಡ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹದಾಫುನವರ ಕೂರಿಂಗ್ ಹದಾಫುನೇರು ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗೆ ಎಚ್ಚಿ ಗಣ್ಣ ಅಗು ಬದಲ್ ವೆಫ ಹುರಿದಾನೆ ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಫೆಶೆ ದುವಹಣ್ಣೆರ್ ಎಹೆ ಮೆಜಾಮು ಅಗು ಬೊಡುವೆಗೆ ಮೆಸ್ ಕೊಸ್ತಾನ್ ಸೊ ಅಬದುಸ್ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಜೆಹನಿ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಕುರಮು ಕುರಿಯಗೆಲ್ಲ a budget is central to efficient and responsible financial management. A balanced budget is when outgoings are the same as income, so you need to be able to create a balanced budget. Yeah. Misalka atun kura haradaka e kanda edi baraka misalaka e harade kurun ege itura nugos. Then anihe fasa e dibeka event hinga kam gawanama HB kani misalka fundraising kal kam bejamu e bejamu e chen hadan dia haradak ekashena income atad debu. A surplus means that you will have greater income than your expenses. So, amugatika ege fada wume punani atu harad kuravuragina livene. Yeah. A budget deficit is when your outgoings exceed your income, and a deficit can be disastrous to the success of the event. So here you need to remember not to spend more money than you have, however greater your temptation is. Yeah, no the decoration flower centerpiece and hadam making Kannada fine barabbaren itura flowers can skin echi read ko hadam urafiamu ehin task taka event ka dani paisa madwe. It's going to be a problem for you. Understand how to keep appropriate records. You need to have clear and concise records of all financial transactions during the event. Keep revising the budget as income flows in and expenditure flows out. Formulate a cash flow statement. Make sure you receive income from all the sources as it falls due. If income isn't received when due and expected, chase it up immediately. And here the most important thing is you need to remember to pay your expenses on time. and then you need to manage and plan your cash management strategy for the event. So here budgeting is about going through all the components of an event and putting a value next to them. Ideally, these values should be sourced rather than guessed to increase the accuracy of your calculations. So you can, for example, you have seen the work break structure example a few slides before. So in that example, you can see misalka catering ge dashun. Ege dashun pura hunna kanta menu hedu. Evijamu menu ko hunna komme item e list ko fa komme item e handan da haradu leifa. Egoda tayar kore onje. Yeah. So the first step is record the cost of essential components. So here you start with essential and those costs that are obvious or you already have an experience of. So Furtamanus Pashani emme muhimmu task taka da haratiki kobato beno. Yeah. Event technique. So the second step is get rough estimates from market research. So you need to do your market research. Me kurimbuni hai misalaka me food me menu hadaf ege komme item me bikkana agu hatani misalaka chicken fried rice. Ehm vijamu kurige ingredient list naga ege price in balan hedum is not a good idea. You need to go out into the suppliers shops, get the recent ingredient pricing lists and do the menu costing. And then step 3 is calculate the total cost that will go. Misalaka mihege bola a menu items charge kurani kya valeta. Increase the accuracy of components by searching for better suppliers. So here then the next question you need to ask is what are your income sources? In order for events to succeed, you have to have access to direct funds, like an in-house budget, an event that is funded entirely by a single organization or individual, or the ability to procure funds. So here me dekotaka misalaka budget hodidane me event ekinga. Ekotaki ඒ තානයක මිසාලක අයිදන් කවුන්සිල්ග හුන්න බජටකු එහිංග අයිවෙන්ටක බජට් කාඩයරු එහෙනුනි ස්පොන්සර්ස් පෝදිදගේ සොබොඩ බලාදාර මිසාලක බජට් එක්ස්පෙන්ස් අතුන් දානේ හරතන් හිඟනි කොංකාල කන්දතකත්තෝ ඉවෙන්ට් එතරේ මීහුන්ගේ සෙලරී දිනෝ එතනගේ ලොකේෂන් හිෆන්දා හරදු ඉක්විප්මන්ට් හොදන්දා හරදු ඒ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක හිඟන්දා හරදු ඒ इवेंट तेरे तैयार कुरायचे तैयार कर मिसालक मी डॉक्यूमेंट्स तक प्रिंट कुरनी वर्कशॉप का हैंड आउट्स तक विचा ए प्रिंट कुरंदा हरद हमें है कि इवेंट मार्केट कुरंदा हरदा एक इतुरु अण्ण एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट्स तक एक ही मेनिगेंदा. So here public events need sponsors. Most of the time sponsors hodanigira for public events the misalaka amurai rashige amurai tuna baba event ge gota market kuraiche vejamugira for sponsor hodan. So these could be local, state or federal government, corporate sponsors or special interest groups, private sponsors and suppliers. And when we talk about sponsorships, not all come free of charge. Misalaka sponsor eme hodani. By sponsors ake varam high public profile honna by. Misalaka well known figure and the celebrity event against a sponsor me ane market korani event. Ehmecham me ane celebrity event sponsor kodde thive event hinga mihatu dana barakona harade misalaka guest house hinga baram guest house de sponsor koramege me video clips taken hada event hinga mege me kennani war beruge mati modo actress or actor a board of publicity hodam mege event manager korakam me aso ekam e ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೌಸ್ಗೆ ಓಣ ಅಂತೂ ಫುದೇವರೆಗೆ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ವೆಚ್ಚಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಏನು ಗೆನೆವ ಮಾಯನ ಹುರುಮ್ಗೆ ಹರದ ಎನ್ಗೆ ಕ್ಯೋಮಾಮಿಕ ಹುರಿ ಹಾಕಮಕ එකම ඒකේ බදල්ග වගුත් කි මීනගේ ෆරාතුන් ඒ බිස්නස් වර ෆෑදාවගෙන්න්න ඒ ඉතුරු පබ්දෙසිටිය ලිබිගෙන්දාන ඉන්ස්ටග්‍රාම චිස්ක බූස්ටුවගෙන්දානේ තම් මාකෙට්වගෙන්දාන හමයාකි ගින මීහුම් තන අන්නම් ප්‍රශාන් Okay, so getting sponsors for your events, you need to be able to know your prospective sponsors marketing objectives. Misalaka gossawaki sponsor kariga me workshop hinga beruma saman print kurumuge me sponsor them you are having a conference or workshop for like 300 people. Misaka things they kami hunna hinga workshop. එමෙචා printing බයිකාරයෙකු සමිසාන් කමේ පුරණ මිය ස්පොන්සර් දෙමි එමෙචා එමිහුගේ ඔබ්ජෙක්ටිව්ස් බලංජේන ඒ ඔබ්ජෙක්ටිව් බලාෆාම එමිහුම් මාකට් කොද්දෙන් ජේන ඒ වර්ක්ෂොප් තේරේක මිසක දිරාක් තන්තන වර ගින ස්පොන්සර්ෂිප් එදෙනි වතනියා තන්තන DML තන්තන එමිහුගේ ලෝකල් සයි වෙනෝ සයිචිස් මාකට් කොද්දේ කොත නේ එහෙම ඒකෝතන් එමිහුගේ ඔබ්ජෙක්ටිව්ස් තේරෙන් කොබාතෝ එමිහු ඉස්කන්දේ කන්දත්තකකි එමිහුගේ බෙනගෙන ඉතාබෙන්දෝ but officially sponsor kura by kamuga abadus a workshop sponsor kura by kamuga mu American sponsor ko de by kamuga emu they see sponsorship as marketing strategies but also overall a business strategy so they want to align their brand with a good cause misal ka by far bodeti mi companies ta organizations ta mi de sponsor ka emi hun ekalami corporate social responsibility ke dashon me seba beno me kame kodde so they want to see, a brand emihunge a business product or service emihun benoni align kuram a good cause saka so these are some of the things through your event that you can offer to your event sponsors. It could be on-site signage which is as shown from this graph has 63%. Category exclusivity, baki misalaka official sponsors are baki part of your event. Yeah. Broadcast ad opportunities, and misalaka TV program bejamu a broadcast terrain de tere ko misalaka ngemihuge etta advertise kurum presence on site by fare be furunge presence ebe furum benume the sponsor kura event enuta and conference or workshop ege kota yeah title of proprietary area access to mailing list access to content rights to use logos marks so you need to know when to like get your sponsors for your event 45% of businesses make their sponsorship decisions in the last quarter. Timing is everything. It will take longer than you think for the decision to go through the corporate ranks. Give your sponsorship campaign plenty of time, months and months. You'll sell yourself short if you work on a really short time frame. So, ginifal wagut kimisaka event date avara kari koffa miyane sponsor hoda mulejam varam the point whether it's a catering event or a workshop or a conference or networking event or a birthday or a wedding or a celebration cultural celebrations that you want to do. Give her sponsors spend one at time. No, them in a deveni coaching set to Bala, a huri hakame set. So here, for example, misalaka venue select kurat. Yeah, a material balanama expected number of attendees saki 60. Yeah. 60 අනේ මේ attendance පසුලස් මෙහකම මේ බලනේ මිසාලක මේ අනේ මේ event මේ attend කරන්නේ නේ එහෙම වෙච්චම එම්මේ අගුහෙව මෙවනි the hinga business and was the organization nakun ege අනේ මේ cost cover korea නේ ඒ මේ sheet furtama balala friend නේ So, but me calculation, it becomes more interesting when you start to add numbers. You may estimate the number of attendees for each venue based on marketing or service. Yeah. So here misalaka me exhibition area ka me tiba wafiyamu. There is a slight rise in the cost wise. There is a size rise here. So come exhibition arena ka mi misalaka ti event baba fe wagut ki bodu thane di fagina mi hon accommodate korave adi boda ti event market korave gende. So what you get is more money in terms of like people who come in and spend, and like to your event becomes more than having it in your company headquarters. Yeah, cost per attendee is 30 if you hold it in your company headquarters. But if you go for the exhibition arena, what happens is you get a larger market who comes in and uses your services, and you get the chance to market your products or services which you're trying to sell through your events. So, so in real life, things can go wrong. What should you plan in your budget to take care of this? When budgeting, always consider a margin of error so you can accommodate any potential issues. So, अब this margin of error या budget कंडाला 1% balance है. Yeah. So in our world, if you think like any issue can be resolved with money, having a certain budget for unanticipated events helps you make quick decisions at the time they occur and resolve them before they become a bigger problem. So the whole point of having this 5% of budget is to make sure that you are ready to cater for any unanticipated events. Misalkan nufeni ඇස්දාන කුල්ලි දිමාවිධාන මස්සලේ නුවත හිඟාෆානේ හරදක තයාරුවගෙන් හුරුමුගේ කොතුම් මේ 1% budget abudus event hingar panala for balance. So some of the common mistakes that you do when you are estimating the budget includes overestimating demand. Misalkan demand cater puravara demand estimate kore find our bodu ignoring subsidiary costs misalakan e budget khanda ana iruga hinga misalakan e GST anota and service charges taka suppliers atunula e cost khanda fine hinga haradu khanda ignoring the true purpose of the event. So as the purpose ki ko bato halum abade samavara muhe mukamen e wedding and event veja misalka decorations ka ಬೇಣುಮಣಿ ಕುಂಕುಮ ಡೆಕೋರೇಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಓಕೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಥೀಮ್ ಹೆಮಿಜಾಮ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ತಕ್ಕೆ ಗೆನೆ ಜೆ ಇತುರು ಎಚಿಸ್ ತಕ್ಕೆ ಗೆನೆಸ್ ಬೆನಸ್ ತಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡುವ ರೆಡಿ ಕೊ ಹಾದಾಕಶೆ ನೆ not involving everyone misalaka a relevant department ko the group of people la kun emmen involve nuwa gota budget hada ready kofa and event efficient. Now we come to timing and risk management. Kuriga dakale work breakdown structure nuwata eki individual departments or group of people kurama sikata identify mi kuri work breakdown structure. No, eki misalaka balali maden ingene kiha bagute kiha effort en lanje hene kam me event successful ko hinga. Yeah. then jehen kuran jehen kamaki mi ane mi a task the jehen schedule kura a timelines the create kura okay kondu hukuto misaka catering event veja food orders the receive koffa misalakan eki food production event vamara fashani so objective of this session is that you will be able to schedule event preparation activities using Gantt charts and risk management analysis tools. So what is the point of managing time? Time management provides us the ability to prioritize, organize, and control how you spend the 20 hours in your day to further your overall purpose. So here you are prioritizing, organizing, and controlling your uh, activities so that it fits into your overall purpose. Yeah. Ei emme muhimu kanta. Misalnya emme kuri kuran je kama kiko bato holong event hinga ya. Misalnya ka workshop benuma hinga benuma nyamu benue ready ko hembai ka outsource ko den tayar kura kama nyamu kon kametto fortama kuran je ni den ege fatum kon kametto rawalan je ni adi miya kika kinetto time control ko ke memaske kuriya kenda. So the purpose is that it gives a clear direction, will reveal you of all activities that are not essential. So when you schedule everything to a timeline, what happens is misaka komme kuran nuje kanta ta identify wegen dana schedule den hedima muli event benuma maseketta ke schedule den hedim ne be fare heluni benuma kamembes event teren kurevi time gelle koiwa. Then you set your priorities, you identify your priorities, and then you start working on those priorities within the event. Misalaka bunanyamu furtama kamakam hama mubarate bavane misalaka inter office mubarate rush tereka baba mubarate bejam furtama prioritize koran cheri kon kametto ehme jam information stang relevant stakeholders at phone Mikahala aneka plan kurang information session e bawang benuwaka no the discussion ne bawang benuwaka egota timeline tang hada schedule tang hada ready koke event aiki kuriya devane yeah. Then hame aiki ka misalakan e mubarata furtama konimma tayar kuran jehni kun kameto identify megena so your priority is in the work tasks that comes under each activity group or task force. Start with so when it comes to prioritizing your tasks, you need to start with the most important thing first. This may seem obvious, but the fact is the most important thing is often the most daunting, the thing that takes the longest and the thing that causes us the most anxiety. It's very easy to put it off and busy yourself with a lot of little tasks saying, oh, I'll just do this one little thing first. Abadus eme undagu kanta furtama event eka execute complete kuraveto balanche. Yeah, saka catering nega vejamu kitchen staff already kuru food the procure ko for is the genes ready ko a pre-preparation abenuwa huri hakame furtama kurani rather than just keeping it off for the last day. Then the next thing you know, the day is half over. You spent the morning on a bunch of little things that really could have waited. So when it comes to events, it's very important to know what should you do first in order to complete your tasks. Managing time effectively and achieving the things that you want to achieve means spending your time on things that are important and not just urgent. Hamekine urgent kantata kanno event ka attend kora. Misaka dimama masaleka urgent again kamaka attend kurumge badaluga. You need to identify the important activities that you need to assign your time for. So important activities are these are activities that lead to the achieving of your goals and have the greatest impact on your life. So urgent are those activities which demand immediate attention but often associated with someone else's goals rather than our own. And the next step you need to do is you need to schedule your day with time slots. Once you have decided on your most important tasks of the day, give it more time than you think it requires. So ginafara misalaka emme event furiham kuruma kuraje emme muhimu kanta identify kuruma fau air timeline eddeje air time frame eddeje nge misalaka me atol level ga baba competition e vejjamu emuge accommodation hamajassa emuge accommodations the ready catering ready kon ehuri hakam set kuru the common misalaka is complete coffee to bala ehuri hakame kurandani dekadiru vejjamu en kanalani thingadi so that you always have that 1 hour backup time to make sure that everything is going according to how it's planned and scheduled so that you can implement your event effectively. Next is you need to set deadlines for each tasks or activities. Assign a deadline to each task which represents its urgency and importance. This can be done by distributing tasks into timely components. Misal ka futtamano atol level gonna mubara tangana befulunge accommodation hamajeho Jetobedo, esi ebe matiga, e affaho ebe frunge catering hamache hifato huri kadia ready waneto ready veto beto. So you need to time the components takaka mikala mi task ta bahalache. And the next step is that you have to make the most of new technologies. Technology is meant to save us time and make our work easier. Yeah? There are so many tools and apps out there which can be utilized when planning and managing events. Number one, Google Drive. Yeah? Google Drive key, no event planning and project management conversation would be complete without this. You can easily use Google Drive's documents, folders, and spreadsheets to manage and collaborate on content and ideas. So, Google Drive is one of the most commonly used technology available that can be used to like communicate your documents, folders, and spreadsheets with those who are working in the event. If you like organize your work, you get more control on the events and tasks and activities that are being completed to execute your event, which could increase the productivity of your people and also the overall event. So now the next, this is a very important aspect of your event, which is a risk management. So first of all, the probability of a successful event is always going to be greater if you take time to consider the potential risks to a project before you begin. So komme event hingi kamga vies abadus balanje ane ikobato kuremati vedane risk taka kimeka. Misalaka food festival leve jamu vaga deve kame vejamu stall tahalaku. Yeah. Risks may be both positive and negative. So risk can be both positive and negative. What is risks? Risks to a project are events that are undecided or unknown, and should they occur, will have either positive or negative effect on project's objective or outcomes. So, like I said, if it is a food festival, if it is too windy, it might dismantle your stalls. අනේ food festival එකකින් ගර්මාව වැයකට වෙච්චාම කොමිගති වෙ ස්ටෝල් තන් හලක් වෙච්චි වෙට්ටි කද්දත්ත වෙගෙන්දා නොතේ arrange ko fahuna kabo take de chista hala kwe kanta Project risk management is all encompassing. Every part of a project subject to risks. Waki hamekani physical risk and no inventing here. Huriha area ka vis risk aunga chance. Kurim bud misalaka budget ka overspend ves koravida. Misalaka food orders take hadafa food cost me menu en hadafa eken komme dish vikane agu hediru me use kurani මා කුරීගේ ප්‍රයිසින් ලිස්ට් එකේ ෆුඩ් ඉන්ග්‍රීඩියන්ට්ස් එකේ එහෙම එකල ෆුඩ් අස්ලු ඉවෙන්ට් අන්නදු ගන්න දා ටයිම් ෆ්‍රේම් ගබෙන්නේ මා අකු බඩු and this also this could be to schedules nisaka mihum badimu mihaku kendigen diun emme muhimmukon emme lead kuran huna mihen na devum ikaleta kame risk as that then scope quality with summary compromise again kostane communication ga dima virus hediana risks so stakeholder interaction and project implementation terengana risk yeah. So when you are dealing with risk management you need to consider the following risks. Management starts at the project's commencement. For the man of risk management hama feshkendan event feshkenda hisabu yeah. Risk management is about awareness through the life of a project about what possibilities of risk exist, how to take action to minimize or prevent risk, or how to capitalize on positive risks. So here risk management astuga me and deals with like identifying what is the possible risks that exist out there. Event hinga muler misalaka event ke tereng adi event ke beru dima vidane ade risk taka ki ko bato ne deve kantatta ki ko bato supply ngatu supply eko shutdown kuru misaka shop pages emi huna emi vehicle breakdown again a supply kuram benuma saman no fono Ruata how this could be budgeting issues like I explained earlier too. Yeah. Risks should be communicated to stakeholders. Some forms may be acceptable to stakeholders. Some projects are high risk by nature. Identified risks require management strategies agreeable to all appropriate parties involved in the project. So, event identify kura me risk identify kurave hisabu eti manage kurane strategies taken already huna chen kanda edifa the emmen agreeba strategies taka kaswache yeah. Risk should be tracked, analyzed and communicated appropriately from the start to end of a project. So about this event hama fashion ke coding komme department ko komme group of people ekura task no activity ke risk identify kore meje komme ka de event bsa misala ka workshop ready kuram ule me and a group of people also they need to identify the risks misala ka print in a din tanu hs the printing gadiya no libijam den hadana kine yeah. So these need to be communicated properly to all the people who are involved in the event management. Now we come to risk identification. There are several steps in the risk identification process. So the first one is you need to identify the risks. Come step ka kurimbuni hendi mavidani is to identify kuru. Consider the nature and scope of any potential risk. Who will it affect and why? Misalaka me catering baya waguta kalchinu libun. Vijamu me effect kurani komba ikatto. Yeah. Consider the probability kiha likely to a risk can occur muge. Yeah. Consider the implication if this happens. මිසාලක එහෙම වෙච්චාමු දෙකිනේ තෝ ආනේ ඒකේ කියා හර දෙක ඉතුරු දාන්නේ තෝ එහෙම බයි කවාක දැක්කෑගේ ෆුඩ් අනේ සප්ලයි කුරන් උළුම් ඒකේ ලාස්ට් වෙගෙන් දාන්නේ කියා හවරකත්තෝ සේෆ්ටි කොම්ප්‍රොමයිස් වේ තෝ එබසරක ෆුඩ් එච්චගේ මිසාලක සප්ලයි බදල්වගේ From all such considerations you can start to develop an appreciation for the relative importance of different risks. You can then plan to avoid them or use them to advantage. So this identification process a carry out kofa in the chakuri balkon mespun hinani risk identify vefa hame yaki ka eti avoid kurane kantata de faha ka veginna yeah. You can record your findings for future use, learn from the past, and adjust your future responses. So here what you need to remember is, if you take the example I just gave, for example, your supplier needs to be changed. So if you are selecting a supplier to get your food ingredients from a high quality supplier, you make sure that the backup plan supplier is also a, organization which provides high quality food, so that in terms of safety any issues does not arise. So there are two types of risks that can be internal risks and external risks. First, we look at internal risks. Internal risk is associated with the project inside the business, and this include, for example, cash flow lack of or erratic cash flow misal kalibum ka masal tangurung breakdown of equipment or machinery, employees leaving, loss of key personnel misalaka kulle kan hama wara active ko work kuramunda wara rangal staffing hama leave kuran jahum, safety compromises misalaka food production ga mihu madumuge sababun emme healthy ko emme hygienic ko kabata tai anukuremu incorrect schedule na hedi anna risks misalaka mihun airways echi ready no than ready no hurun cost risks blowouts, technology risks, outdated technology and the software kengulu bad market egotikas nuko a bodo event and hingangulu ehemejang ekala customers or clients won't come. Sales example, weak distribution networks, inefficient sales teams, inexperienced sales teams, and unmotivated sales teams. So internal risks, continued management, poor decision making processes. Misalka a management tereng ana risk poor decision making kameka. Procrastination fahun kurang fahata jesung ehme last minute ke telephone anige ekame konimo. Lack of expertise and experience ekame kurang benuma skill netum. Poorly defined project aims and objective. Lack of support from higher management and internal politics. By far a department and a department on ekala ej fahuna masataka hedives misaka workshopping echen hingam benuwa tive admin nu miyangani procurement මෙවැනි items එකක් බේනුවේ එකමක ඒ department ඒ දෙතරේ ඕන්න මසත්තකා හිදිවෙස් පයි පහර එච්චි වගතන භූමිකා ලොඳ කරනවා. Poor staff management, poorly defined work roles and responsibilities, lack of resources, poor research methods and poor data quality, poor project sponsorship and or lack of sponsor support, key stakeholders pull out at the last minute. And then we look into external risks. External risk is how the project impacts on the world outside of the business. For example, these are things that is most of the time out of your hand, but you need to be ready for this. And there are things which can really not be changed if it happens. So examples include drought, flood, storm, fire, excessive heat, death or injury. Third party impacts, example government change in law, misalaka kamerawa fobwa, malit kanuna ngana badalakun, ege supplier chain ngana badalakun, muli event to hold vegendi. Yeah, hamayakiga me risk terega dia hame me bodo example me pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. Market risks, change in demand, economic risks, misalka inflation, recession, change in cost of finance, and potential company mergers. Mika product company mergers gawagot ki event ready for over misalka a company a kulik jamu a hinga koi adimuli event ke idea with some badal chance in that. Now there are 4 steps of risk management. The first one is identifying risks. For the matter, you need to identify risks. Misalaka me hinga event eka kobato risk ki puri football mubarak hingadi for example ehme jamu ega huri risk ka backup ragala first aid backup e bohurita enjane tiamu kineto den hadani manage kura yeah then ai ki first aid equipments or necessary stuff order ko gengenes ehuri hakame control ko monitor kura yeah then the last step is controlling, eliminating, minimizing risk and reviewing the risks. So you have eliminated the risk. Fahakurevuni misalaka mihaka injury vejamu, a mubarakere injury vejamu, a backup first aid items vejamu, you have already ordered and bought it and set all these things in place. Hameyaki misalaka the medical field on the doctor ediga hama egadiga tibuma kanalafa behetida. Tools for identifying risks. So first one is historical. So you look at misalka kuring mikahala event ekka dimafori risks takki ko bato. Misalka vagadamu ane stotan halaku a festival and the fair cheka vejamunda. Then hame ki ekahala risk me events hinga mi huna interview kore vidana. Kihinetto mi kobato risk takki involvana mikahal kame kuraro. And also interacting with colleagues ekkomasike kurami huna discusses koredane identify kuram brainstorms korevidane komato me risk takaki. Then you can do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threat analysis. Identify kuram me risk ta komme work task or workforce ege dashon hinga kandattaka. So risk analysis comes after you have identified risk or potential risk, so you may well have an insight into the relative significance of different risks. However, it is only after doing a proper analysis that you can fully understand each of the risks you have identified. So here when you are doing risk analysis, a thoughtful and systematic risk analysis can be time consuming, but it ensures that your understanding of risk is based on logic and not emotion. So if you really do a risk analysis, you're not just assessing or identifying risk based on your emotion or because you are scared that it might get windy. Risks are properly quantified and qualified. Potential hazards are assessed and solutions formulated. A more open and informed approach within the project team, a more realistic approach to project outcomes, and also a more attainable project. So now we look at this risk analysis document. First is the identification, then we have the assessment and analysis, how you're going to manage it and how you're going to monitor it. So identified areas include financials. So what is the probable risks that may include in your event? Misaka financially dimavedan masataki komado. Emasana era itwijamu. Again, then nikunane mas ane the issues takaki komado. Ehme manage kurani kihineta. Management process tene futamanam prioritize kurani. Koba risk prioritize kofa. Ea puri halu takandara. Ea for eti review kurani. Health and safety, you follow the same procedure. You identify the probable risks that might exist and then the impacts or issues, and then you prioritize the risks and then you give the response strategies and review your monitoring. Similar with security, misalaka security wise libidani geluntaka kiko bato. Ehme jamu ege impacts of mani kantata kito. Then prioritize kurani ekanta halu kura kito kurani. Nge misalaka football match terega vejam probable risk ki mihaku vetti fail tanen pito. Evijage impact is going to be huge on his health. Emihaka hamawara kurani akabedan lifelong. Evijage injuries or health and safety ki dashon eti prioritize kure veche hai. Yeah. Kihinetto den hadan. Okay, you have a backup ka, the doctor already got. You have all the equipments and utensils and medical facilities. needed to attend to the injured player. So, and then you review. Now we come to the venue of your event. So for corporate event project management, a significant source of constraint is the choice of the venue. The venue can come to define the success or failure of an event, since a lot depends on what it provides and how you plan to take advantage of these resources. So the objective of this session is that you'll be able to choose your ideal venue using a trade-off analysis based on critical, generic, and specific parameters. How to choose a venue? So first you need to identify the objective, what matters the most. Then you collect information. Does the venue pass minimum criteria? Okay, 150 mihuna bawa networking event bejamu misalaka a whole large enough to. Okay, etanuga eburito sound system, eburito presentation slides, the projector. Trade-off. Choose most ideal based on critical factors. එම්ම මුහිම්ම critical factors තන් identify කරන්නේ. Okay, වෙජම් networking තනේ වෙජම් පදේරගේ බොඩ තනේ වෙනවා. එම්ම නම් මෙහෙම වාහක දක්වා introduce එක කොනික ගෙමසික තබේ කොතුන් හියාල් බදල් කුරානේ ජාග වෙනවා. නේ? हमें AI की का मिसाल का presentation साधन्याओं एम्म मुहिम्म चका projector වෙනවා. So here, the next most important thing for your event could be catering. So how important is catering? In any event lasting a few hours, there is always food involved. Ginafara hama komme event eka viyasi. Food hunna. Yeah, food ki social komme function aka bes baram muhimu anche. Food can come to define the experience for many, as people are usually very vocal about receiving bad food at an event. So in most of the event, हम किन event का एम बड़ा defining element का मिवानी food. Yeah. Equally, if they receive good food and catering services, they will speak highly of the event. So it is important to pay attention to this part. हम एम बड़ा फाह करे वे वरक गिने events तक का मिसाल का food मीर वे जामु एक catering services दे बाय बे समा market packing इतुरा मशहूर वे गेंदाने हमें आय कि मीहुम में सेवा का दक्का. Yeah. The scale and choice of catering depends highly on type of event you are running and also what the venue can offer. Misalaka event bava venue එක kitchen කිහා බොඩුතෝ ඒක මීයනේ කිහාවරගේ menu එක cater කරවේ තනෙත්තු බලාෆ තනෙක්ගේ catering hamja sanjhe ye nuwata outsources koreda e veja budget fit ve to konkahala food offer kuraba to value for money hunna level එක food assemble ko present korevenne to. Contracting out is usually used for setting up food stalls and food halls, which are more popular for large outside events such as festivals. For festivals, some food stalls is contract basis on the events. For the purpose of this course, we will consider catering for corporate events. So corporate events are boda popular one buffets. Misaka, it could be a finger buffet. With this type, guests normally stand and eat, like cocktail tables, such as mehendi upahona tables, tahafa. Food kudi one bite on call the way baruge food na asu finger buffet again. Yeah, buffet items again. So a color food present Quran. Then we have with a fork buffet with this type, guests normally sit. Food can be hot, cold, or both. Yeah. So what issues should you consider when presenting a buffet? There are a number of issues. I've been giving quite a bit of examples in my previous slides. Misalaka catering a balar misalaka buffet hadanya food tam kamaka a food order lasu food which is kakam beno pura saman wagta supply tundu libu nge hama buffet las vegendane kanta production side badige side nge hama yaki ka misala ka badige staff unta ke baver balibu ehme jamu tinste ka mihuna keta kura madu mihungo amara undabuwa nge then hama yaki buffet atrale faina go emihun kiu kogge maraginer tibe gota dekolun table ge echine ge gota matura fa bahata dinu mikal arrangements the mara visenjan ehni mara boda delay vegenda. Arrange the buffet tables, drink sections, and optional payment points in a way that delegates end up in a simple to follow queue that most people are used to. So on average, it takes a diner about 20 seconds to fill his or her plate. ආමුගතික බලනම කායිචි සලම් එළෝ ෆෙෂමොෆ්ෆ හොදානි 20 වරක seconds a plate fill කුණා. So consider this when timing the break time, especially when you have large number of people to feed. Break time there is ever business chemisaka sufficient time then though. So misalaka 32 minute ke break edifiam sateka mihunna hama kiriya ichine geni ehme conference ke medutene 32 minute ke break edifia emmena kannu ke venikam balaje हम पूरे बुने arrange करा गोता एची आला हुना equipments ता properly अने align कुरमा पूरी हाँ कमे बेस buffet arrangement का वारा मुहिम हुआ. So seating layouts. So your event may include a gala dinner. In this case, you need to consider the type of seating layout you want to use for dining in line with the rest of the event requirements. So here, if it is a gala dinner, nimbanjehen misaka regand onna me waki kahala dinner evel jama waki hasa function ka soft music jaha forna me buffet extensive buffet but elegant ko arrange ko forna buffet evel jama balanjehen misaka seating arrangement kine to bahatta. Yeah. Once you know the type, the next parameter is to see how many people can fit into that layout for a particular given area. So ikala dinner vejamu dembalancheni kita mihunatto accommodate kureveni en holu maanato misalaka avenue ge hataru holu nagani tonoto bodu ettan nagani. This depends on the desired configuration and shape of your environment, though you can use simple tools to get a feel for the numbers. Following are seating configurations commonly used for various purposes for dining or general event. So dembalana by seating layouts the beno kura. Event classroom teaching style. So this is also one way you can arrange your table and chairs. Bit more formal. Next we have U-shape. This is more commonly used in like U-shape training rooms like in workshops or conferences. Theater. So this could be stage performance. So a stage performance event about seating arrangement and then drama colleges kulenote kala film making kala kamendanyame. Boardroom formal meeting type events. Parallel. So this could be like competition based between two groups. Misalaka event eka baki kahala language competition event eka hala ichevejyamu hama the group of teams tamigo tang arrange ko for misaka link kiyomuge mubarat eka hala kamemba bakamuga wanama migo takudin arrange ko for hama eka hala event ekeri akkorai. So this is banquet dining. And banquet dinners are those where banquet buffets are created. whereby misaka tables ka bara me food me arrange ko fahunan. So ekahala dinner night every jamu me ko tang arrange kurel dan tables ta me machine na kota. Banquet rounds, this could be a bit of chaotic dining, but this becomes more like misaka staff night ekaleche bawanama event ek hold kuranamada ekahala no the anniversary eche office anniversary eche fa kuranama. This could be a better like arrangement of chairs and all those stuff. Banquet rounds, this is orderly, so me me ane hembrana wara alignment rangal ko arrangement hada feme sit down ko genwata award functions takka sune me kota paika. So this is workshop discussion meeting events. And this is half circle, team building or emotional. So team building workshop na the conference singar misalka a participants ekako ankaka faseha mahaka dekkene kahala kotaka arrangement hada benu manamanota team building babar activities take hingana mikotang arrangement hada for team wara successful one gira for training programs. So here stage correct, if you look at how you stage your event, so wider is better than deeper. If you have a large event that requires staging, consider theater like halls rather than conference halls. Misalaka stage bahata kura kala kame vechiyamu theater hall negidane event ka misalaka drama takin mubarak ekota baba ekala kame kuranyam but the school anniversary night fahaga kurani e vechiyamu boda dangalwani polane kiya. Yeah. Connect the audience with the speaker. Arrange the seating to have the shortest possible distance between the audience and the stage. So ginafaharang, if you are staging an event with the stage performance, audience ama duru nungotaka jeheni seating arrangement ada. Yeah. Make it atmospheric. For stage events, avoid ballrooms since the flat surface makes it difficult to see the stage. The high ceiling can also make it difficult to create an atmosphere. So if it is for stage events, it will be a good idea misaka ballroom kahatantam nuneko. Yeah. Stage event evecham evaga ma ussiswane ceiling bes aneka mi flat surface unota bimmati hunani ebbarako hem undaku wedane fariga fahatuko tibe me hunna stage fenna. Increase visibility. If you have a stage, you also need to consider visibility. Think carefully about the seating arrangements. Make sure everyone can see the stage. So misaka stage event vejamu misaka dancing echegi ane I gababa vejamu visnalanje embena fenna gosaka eti arrange kora. Consider audience comfort in the dark. Depending on your event, you may need to darken the room to increase stage visibility. But for misaka theater performance and check baba kala event vechamu theater dark collagen and no misaka Eid performance kala check vejamu ma dark no ma light no kahala light in etane kahunna je. So when you're finishing, you have successfully gone through your event. Now it's time to close it down. Guests want to leave and you need to manage the shutdown process. What is involved in this stage? So closing an event is just as important as opening it. What happens at the end of an event is likely to be remembered more than what happened at the beginning and can form the general impression of attendees. Mr. Ginafara event misalaka football mubarate nimma fa ede ane prizes di nimma e nimma mabada mihun hada hunane feshiru bihata kiha ikuerito kiha ibamanta karangaruto misalaka baramiru keomen libunto varak helpful to ekalechi smahana huna. As a result, as an event manager, you need to produce a site shutdown procedure which is strictly followed. So nimma for denkanta kuragoy bararangala kuranige bararangala refi financial misalka football mubarat nimma tashtadif isarahad saaf kuran fashaniki eto tam kudichis madmadunna kafa then bodeti echi dismantle kurani. Yeah. Amuko work breakdown structure ga meetives include we find nama. So boda visnalanjenis shutdown ka misalka crowd dispersal kinetto emmentonik megen dani exit tarangala kandeli fato huri emmenna fasehanik megen deve gotatto huri inapar misalka theater gonda performance his ka ber tantan go hunnani ekkolu madijam hunnani exit tane ekkolun arrange koddifa then hame ki his the dismantle kofa if you are having a trade fair misalka stall the dismantle kofa ke transport arrange korani kinetto airline kuraifatoni the VIPs first remove kuram note kai kodne ready to a huri ha steps and identify kofa ready kofa button chen hame gota payments the rangala receive befato huri his the receive vechetoya MMP kurita huri ha yagi kuranche and then comes the sponsors and grants like you need to acknowledge them and give them the vote of thanks properly before you close down the event. Next is the promoting of your event. So purpose is to go through all the effort required to plan and prepare for an event which would not be worthwhile if no one turns up. In this session, you will learn about marketing and branding techniques you can use to make sure that your event will run successfully. So, objective is to use various marketing and publicity techniques to promote your event before, during, and after the experience. Marketing. So many organizers like to get as many attendees as possible to attend their event. Is this a good approach? No, there are two problems actually here. You will always have a minimum and maximum capacity for your event. Of this common event yes, there are like maximum etana event accommodate kurevena mihunge adata minimum kurevena adada. So the minimum is defined by the break-even point which you will need to reach to run the event, and the maximum is defined by your venue and service limitation. Ginafara maximum kitam biyahunto misalaka emme ginavege event එක බෑවරේ කුරවෙනි බලාර ඒක වාගුත් කීති depend වane venue වශා misalaka එමුන දෙවෙන් service එක කිහවරකත්ත මිසක service එමිහුන්න දෙවෙන් ඔටි කිහවරකත්ත ඒ arrange කුරවෙනි. So here you need to see the publicity. What is the pre-event publicity, and during the event, when the event is going on, what would be the event publicity, and you need to market the post-event publicity. So here, if you want to market your pre-event publicity, you could have a website to promote your event or showcase previous events, like provide recorded videos reports of customer experience, testimonials of your past events, or you could also include surveys, carry out surveys to find out what your niche market want to get from an event. Tickets, sell your tickets directly from your website to cut out agency commission. This also allows you to get hold of customer contact details, which in turn allows you to target them for future events. So these are ways you can market your event before the event happens. Okay, and when we look at the publication, what you can do is misalaka article with advertisement දෙවිදානේ relevant magazine industry එක relate වා දැන් හැමයකි press release events දෙවිදානේ. Provide press releases about your event to relevant press release compilation sites. And then we have the sponsorships. Acquire sponsorships so others help you publicize your event in a win-win relationship. Invite prominent celebrities. Like we discussed earlier, what you could do is you could invite prominent celebrities. Fame is attractive. So always if someone who is like famous comes and get participants in your event or your product or service, what happens is your product sells faster. So if you invite someone that your target market knows well and respects, you increase the profile of your event and are more likely to attract other celebrities to the event too. And then we have the exhibition. What you could do is before the event, you could provide an exhibition showcasing interesting products for your target market, effectively diversifying your event. Pre-event strategies. So here, keep your event title short, descriptive, and to the point. So we harvest kuda gotaka event abehe maulumat saaf gotka and lieffa tayar kuffa eti market kuruma varamuhemuan. Provide a contact person who may be reached at all times. So event abehe gotam abadwas me maulumat devene. Therefore, contact include kurmaki varamuhemukame. Use the description to communicate your events appeal to a wider audience. Be sure to note whether your event is free and or open to the public. So how can you make your event viral? Make your event viral by taking advantage of social media. Make sure that you formulate your message in a way that follows the laws of viral marketing. So here what you could do is you could use like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter to like make your event viral. So here is how can you make your event viral. Make your event viral by taking advantage of social media. And no one sends an idea unless they understand it, they want it to spread, they believe that spreading it will enhance their power. So here you are taking advantage of a platform whereby you are able to sell your event, and you have to make sure that the idea or event you are marketing through social media is easy to understand and that people want to spread it and share it. So how do you do that? For example, you could use rewards that is included in your events, which could help people to share it more. So now we come to event publicity. Once the event is underway, you should still consider publicizing it. Those who knew about your event and decided not to attend are still potential customers, for example, for your next event. So even while the event is being conducted, you need to publicize your event. So this could be done through flyers or cards or whatever you are handing out, or live streaming the videos or videos in social media. First, and in this way, what you need to do is first you need to create first impressions, then freebies like getting autographs through your celebrity promotions, special side events you can incorporate into your major event, like those seen in cultural celebrations like Eid. Digital media could be used to market your event. Free or discounted printables, one-to-one consultation sessions with insiders. Misalkagina Fahara, me went about universities, the for example, Bera Kiavandam, Benuvakudina, as Malmati session. එවජසීදා registration department ka උඩ බෙෆුරුන් ඇසහම event terega එචිස්තකී ආදී consultation දෙමුන් ගෙන්දා. So post-event publicity includes, even after the event, you should consider managing the publicity and the marketing. So you want to make sure that your customer considers the event as a success. So we'll think of coming back for follow-up. There's always something that may go wrong in an event. Post-event publicity is your chance to exercise damage control. And here you need to be able to produce report. Misalka event e nimunima ege report e tayar kuru hama ege media content ege videos the photos the site the website upload kon ege malumat di hedum waramu hemuwan. So we look at the 5 W's, 5 W's of event planning. First is what? So you need to be able to identify event name, budget, entry type, and fee. When you are marketing your event, you need to consider these things. What are the promotional materials that we use, and whether you are giving any catering. Why? In why you need to explain the purpose, what you want to get out of this event, why are you holding this event. When, so you need to give specific dates when the event is being held. So who are the organizers of the event? Who are the sponsors? Is there any guest speakers who are coming? Who is the who is going to lead the event? And who is the audience and invitees and participants of the event? Other security facilities and facilitators and observers who will be attendance in the event. So these things you need to market in your marketing plan. There. So you need to identify your venue. So under venue you need to market the audience size and needs, seating arrangements that will be given, and equipment and other necessary requirements that will be provided. Delivering the event. So here the most complex events obviously will require more planning. Bodam hama bodas event the bodam benuwane more planning na more backup plans the komme step akalla. Yeah. So you need to consider the activities that will go into the event. During what are the activities, you need to write it down, and also make sure that those activities are being conducted on time as per schedule. And you need to see to the safety measures that will be taken while you are conducting the event. During the event, the contingency plan should be clear and well communicated to all people who are involved in the event. At the same time, we should identify the physical, financial, and human resources that is being involved in the event, and make sure that they all are functioning properly. Event hingamundar hama eabara balanchen misaka catering airline to rangalatto kuriyatani whether food was enough for all who attended. Assign work to group focal points. Discuss guidelines with all people participating in the event. Implement public safety contingency plan. So after the event. So the end of an event does not mean the end of work. So misalka event nimunima kan nimuni kilo, for example misalka fair baby or carnival eka ehme jamu ehriha ichenaga pekkon huriha kamekuranchen. Yeah. The obvious practical thing that needs to be accomplished after an event finishes is the dismantling of structure, return of equipment, cleaning and clearing the site and its facilities and so on. So here you need to plan the closing of your event as much as you plan the event. So here you need to implement a dismantling of facilities, stalls or equipment by different stakeholders involved. Event නිමුමෆා මිසාලක dismantle කුරාණි කිහිනෙත්තෝ මිසාලක කාණිවල් එක බෑවර් ස්ටෝල් එකේ හදා ෆොන්ඩේ අබදුස් ෆෂානේ එමෙ කුදි කුදි කන්තත්ත කොම්පෙක් කුරා නොස සාෆ් කුරා ෆෂා ෆෝ බොඩි තෙච්චි අබදුස් එමෙ ෆහු move කුරා. Yeah, move the small things first and large equipment or facilities last. So evaluation and review. Delivering an event successfully differs from ending the actual management process. Just because a project is at an end, it does not mean that the stakeholders are benefiting from the program that was implemented. So the end product may not meet the project's initial aims and objectives. So this can apply equally to, for example, a small event such as wedding or party as it does to large events. Yeah. So project review will most of the time evaluate whether the project solved the problem outlined in project's objectives. Amkong evaluation or project review එක බලන්නේ project objectives එක identify කරපු problems ද solve with event එකේ. Identify areas that require more work after your event has finished. බොඩ මිසාලක දෙම්මසෙක්ක කුරංජනි මිකහලා event assess and learn from past lessons for the current and also future products. Salka kuriga vefahori kantattaka adimi fahara dimami kantattaka tafat ki ko bato ya denga di iturang hamamika event e bawanya rangal puram unnane kantattaki ko bato. Ensure that further improvements can be made when needed to create further benefit for your business. So here are some of the things that a project review should cover. You need to find the gaps. So, misalka event එක gap හොදාන්න කියන එක. Project plan එකඩාලා for objective ta බලන්න. බලලා ඒක එබ්බස් තෆාතෙන් උඩ යකෝබතෝ තෆාතක. නොත නුවේ හුරි content එක. How closely did the outcome match the objectives? Me gaps them identify කරන්නේ. ඒ event නිම්මාපා. Are there shortcomings between the outcome and the objectives? මිසාලක කඩ එඩි ෆුත්තම event plan කුරීරු කඩ එඩි objectives තක කියා තෆාතුතෝ event තෙරේක කන්තබ්බෙගෙන් දියද. එහෙම විචා මීචි දෙන් රංගල කරන් හදානි කියනෙත්තෝ. Evaluate the outcomes. Did the project come in on budget? Misalka event budget ke tere fetonuto. Yeah. A quality misalka kihinetto event ke e kanala fain mingandu ke tere level quality gendemuto. Yeah. E adi hingagen me event hingagen die kihinetto. Misalka evere den huritan ekka rangala pure venetto. Yeah. Then involving human resource or people, did they have the proper training and skills to carry out the event? Yeah. Then हमें ऐकी control systems ता लेफ्तो पूरी event के तेरे मिसाल का monitor पूरा हिंगा बंदिये रंगलत तो दानी ये विचार हमें दिमाग विचार हमें रंगला answer पूरे मुनो तो अधिक मसले खालो पूरे मुनो तो. Yeah. Is routine maintenance required to ensure that the project remains successful? How will any problems uncovered in the review be rectified? So here in this review, then ahasuwalaki misalaka mikamu fahaka kuremunu kantetta den rangala kurani kinetto. Next is you need to evaluate the stakeholder expectations. Yeah. Misalaka me vikkani fundraising naka baki kahala ane me ka me dish handa food ingredient handa food dish handa cake cupcakes vikkaniyo inge evijam ahalan jehani misalaka e ganna me customers ke expectation na level එක මත ඒවර මීරු කොන් එතෝ ඒටි හදා ඉන්නේ a customer එයා බෙහෙකොතුන් හිංහම ජේතවා එහෙම විච එමිහුන්ගේ evaluation form එක එමිහුන දේම ගේ එහෙම විච හිංහම නුජෙහෙ customer එක ආමෙදු deal කුරානි deal kuri kihinetto misalaka e cupcakes vikkiro event tere enia misalaka bonus eche dinito nota e problem rangala communicate koddifa ituru enia misalaka reward dinita. So establish the project's benefits and costs. So what was the end cost of the project? You need to ask at the end of your event. Will it cost the client to use the end result? Will there be ongoing costs into the future as a result of the event having happened? So you need to ask this misalaka by far event catering echiska wagotiki vara ginen ka echis hada expected me hunna hada shekya frangala plan nukon hada eruga food wastage amawa hada ehme jamu thanan dibe wara podu keluma kabbela a event catering company be jami hunge fridge of vestaga geldingen dane chistake baki ve feta du kure fokala no how can returns on the project be improved if returns do not meet expectations if expected benefits were not achieved how can this be reversed and what will be required to achieve this මිසල්ක එක්ස්පෙක්ට් කුරිවර ඒගේ ෆෑදානු වෙච්චාම මීගෙන් දෙන් හල්ලු කුරවෙන් කුරවෙනි කො කන්තත්තගේ නේ එවිජයි හල්ලු කුරන් දෙන් කුරානි කන්තත එචීප් කුරානි කිහිනෙත්ත මේ උරි ආච බාලා රංගල අනේ මේ රිවිව් කරවෙච්ච. So appraise future development opportunities. So you need to ask what opportunities can be identified for further change that would add more value. Can results be maximized with extra training? So misalka me reviewing faha kurevunu kantattakum den belidan misalka tibi staff unge training rangalu pora. Have other benefits been identified that were not in the original expectations? Misalka faha kurevidane event kabavri staff ege communication skills wara rangalu kan enege misalkan masikkaten e range kon e line kon eti hingumuge qualities purikan e vijaymu e thanal dibe bonus point ekabegen dan and then you need to establish what you have learned. A event un dasvi huriha kame report ekota diyevi egen den kuriyam ettanu ekala event ek kuranyamu nagal kurani kaltettabbes diyevi fa kore fa namal. So now we come to the end of your session. I hope that you understood the whole training program. Thank you very much.